Alright, I'm recording now, so I'm gonna fucking press the button real quick and see what happens.
Alright, let's go.
I'm playing, but not playing through the headphones, so I can't fucking hear
I hear that
it. So hopefully it's all crap.
shit. It's playing through your computer, so for me it doesn't sound fantastic, but hopefully it's better on my side.
It worked better last week. It was fine.
Is that Marvel too?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to License to View. Yeah, it's Marvel too.
Nice.
Last week it's supposed to go through the monitors and then the output.
Okay.
So I know it's picking up clean on the computer, but the problem is if it's picking
Right.
up through the mic too, then I have no idea.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Since I can't hear it through my earbuds, I have no idea how it sounds until fucking we're done recording.
Yeah.
So, hey, this is License to View. It's a podcast on the internet. Two best friends get together, talk about pop culture news. I'm Jason. That's Zach. What's going on, man?
No, just another week, man. Doing crazy shit. Hoping the
Crazy
world
shit.
doesn't fall. Yeah, hoping the world doesn't fall apart, man. I don't know.
Well, what are you drinking this week? You got anything going on?
Got you some grape Gatorade.
Oh man, I
Good.
walked to my fridge to grab like a Diet Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't refill it, so I have to drink Michelob Ultra at 9:24 in the morning.
That's how you
know?
get the party started.
That's how we get it started.
Right there. Woo!
Mm.
Breakfast of champions right there.
I don't even really like the beer. It's very like bland, but
Yeah.
for what it is.
I don't know. I thought about it, but I want to try to get back into running today, so I don't want to be drinking a bunch if I'm going to try to go on a jog or whatever. So,
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
I've been on a pretty solid like low carb diet last like 3 weeks, and then the last like couple days it's been like, well, it's my first weekend off in a month and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Go balls to the wall. Fuck it.
right, exactly. Like we went to a sports bar
Mm-hmm.
game arcade in called the Break, and that's
Okay.
I just played a bunch of pinball and just slammed beers.
I
Like,
saw some of that, dude. Fuck, dude. Some of those machines look rad as fuck.
dude, they legitimately it's one of my favorite hobbies that I have. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing pinball for the last probably 6 years.
Yeah.
I started playing purely on Xbox, like on
Mm-hmm.
like real tables, but on the Xbox or on the PlayStation.
Right.
So I would practice there and like learn how to play each pinball table, and then when I
Mm-hmm.
would go find it in real life, then I had a better handling of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then everywhere I go, I use an app called Pinball Map, which is
Okay.
user generated, where like users go to each place and they go, oh hey, and they update, hey, this table's at this place and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to this place that called the Break, and I had like 5 or 6 tables, and they were all pretty well kept up, and the maintenance was fine. Because some
Okay.
bars like they don't maintain their tables well.
Yeah, some just buy them and then just leave them in the corner or
Yeah,
whatever.
and then like the rest of the day we were this is heartbreaking, dude. All
Yeah.
day I was trying to find more places to play, and a couple places had like one or two, which to me isn't worth it.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of them have the same tables. They have
Mhm.
the new Star Wars table from a couple years back, or like Guardians of the Galaxy, which I don't care about.
Yeah.
But Charleston Fun Park, aka Blackbeard's Cove, if you remember that.
Okay.
They
Fuck, dude.
they
It's been a
they
while.
they are on the app. I went to their Instagram, and like from like 2018 they had a picture of like 6 tables in a row. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well that's like fucking 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Well, who knows if they even have them anymore?
Yeah.
So we go there to play, and they're
Is that
all
place even still open? I
it's
felt
yeah
like that place
it's
would have been
it
closed.
was popping, man. It was busy,
Wow.
and we
Okay.
walk in, and I find the tables all stuck in a corner, all unplugged and turned off. So I was like,
Jesus.
okay, and we went to
Didn't even put them in storage. Just
didn't
left
even
them out
just
there.
left him there, and then we went
Jesus.
to or before that we went to a Charleston sports pub
Mm-hmm.
because they had a couple tables I wanted to play. We walked in, literally, I turned to my left, all unplugged, turned off.
Jesus, man.
So it was a bad time for pinball yesterday.
That's
Um,
heartbreaking.
but what have you been up to, man, the last week?
Not too much, man. I mean, I've been watching a few things. I really just spent a lot of time watching our main topic for the day.
Right.
So, I mean, you know that was a pretty heavy investment. So I was watching,
Sure.
spent most of my time watching that. I watched a little bit more of Psych about halfway through season 8. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Now that I don't have such a big slog, maybe I'll probably get through that, and maybe I'll try. Hopefully, I can watch the movie too, because I really want to watch the movie because I haven't seen it yet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So maybe
I
I'll try to
don't
get
love
that.
the movie.
You don't?
I mean anything Psych I like. I mean,
Right.
I was automatically already at like above other things because I like it. But
Hmm.
Lassiter's not in it because he had a
Oh,
stroke.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because
Henry's
that's kind of the reason that they're doing the new movie, right? It's
right.
because
That's kind of
he's
the big thing.
yeah.
Henry's barely in it.
Ah, damn.
I don't think Karen's in it at all, really.
Yeah,
So
it's probably just like Sean, Gus, and Jules, probably.
it pretty much it's good, but again, it's not like what's his name's in it too for a little
Was
bit.
Woody in it?
I don't think so.
Damn,
I don't
I love
remember.
Woody.
They bring back just for a scene or two. What's his name? The expert of the yin yang. What's the character's name?
Oh, Mary.
Mary. Yeah, they bring back Mary Lightly, or
Okay.
whatever. I believe for a scene. I can't. I think there's just one scene. I could be wrong. I can't. It's been.
Okay.
I only watched it once because I liked it, but not enough for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna watch this every time I do a rewatch.
Right.
So, but
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
you'll
I kind
enjoy
of
it.
felt I could feel that because I already kind of feel that way about season 8. I don't know. And for me, it's like it's kind of been a slog to get through because it just feels like the most like it's clearly the one that has the highest production value, and I
Yeah,
mean, but it just doesn't feel the same because it's like the Chief's barely in it because like the
she
end of season
moves.
7, she's on her suspension and then she's back for like 5 minutes and she's like, by the way, I'm going to San Francisco.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah.
So that's weird. And then Jules leaves. Jules left like a couple episodes ago, so now she's like she's not in it anymore. Henry, I just finished the episode where Henry sold the house, so like now he's
Hmm.
probably like gonna barely be even. He was barely even in season 8 before then, and now he's gonna be in even less, and so it feels weird. Like the dynamics off. Like I mean, Sean and Gus are still there, and so they're great, but I don't know. It just feels weird, and there's a lot more stuff with like they're pushing Laster super hard. I mean, they are because
Hmm.
he's the chief, but it's like it's become much more of just like Sean, Gus, and Laster like the past couple episodes, which is I don't mind that. I mean, I like their dynamic, but also he's changed so much as a character that it's kind of weird that it's just like him because now it's like he's the chief and he's also like becoming a dad with like
Yeah.
his wife giving birth and stuff like that, and so it's like the whole character dynamic between the three of them is like kind of shifted and changed. So I don't know. It feels weird. It's the weirdest feeling season so
I
far.
think to
So
me, when I was watching it on TV, I was like, okay, they know this is the last season.
yeah.
What Maggie Lawson is off doing some baseball pilot or something, which is why she
Hmm.
left, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, I think they were just trying to wrap up some Henry stuff
Hmm.
because he still stays in the town at the end of the season.
Okay.
You see at the end of the season you see what he ends up doing. Um,
Okay.
and that last episode they wrap it up. I'm not gonna spoil it, so they wrap it up really well. But I
Hmm.
felt like the whole season as itself was kind of like they were doing a goodbye,
Hmm.
but they couldn't do a full goodbye because they were missing integral pieces of the other characters.
Right.
Um, so when I go back and look at the Psych as a whole, a series, it's like okay, 7 and 8 are fine. Like they're all
Yeah.
good. They're all the seasons are good. Even
They're all
eight's
good.
good.
Yeah. They're
But
all
like
good episodes, but
3 to 6 is like
that's like the golden
is the
age.
golden. Like 1, 2
Yeah.
are good. They're good seasons. There's definitely great episodes in those, but
Yeah.
3 to 6 is like everything is
I feel like 3 to 6 is
consistent.
like really where they hit their stride, and yeah, they've got the smooth flow going, and yeah, it's just
Like
consistently good
I'll
episodes.
say this: I do a watch through, like I've said 1,000 times. I do a watch through every year. Like every
Mm.
winter, I do a full watch through the show.
Hmm.
Um, but when it gets, I'll do 1 to 6
Hmm.
really fast,
Yeah.
like within days, and then 7 and 8 take me like weeks
Yeah.
to get through because 1 to 6, one is like okay, one's good. We're trying to figure it out, and then
Hmm.
two, they're like okay, we kind of got this, and then from 3 to 6 is just like okay, we got this. We had the formula. We know what we're doing, and it's just
Yeah.
easy watching. I mean,
Yeah.
all of it's easy watching, obviously, but you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely feel that for sure, and I think it's yeah, because I think it's season 6 is definitely the turning point because that's also the I think season 6 is the end of the Yin Yang saga, which kind of feels like I don't know. Once they get past that, I don't. It really feels like they don't really know like how to wrap up their seasons anymore. Because season 7, the ender is the musical, which is fine, but like doesn't really feel like a season finale type of thing. It's more of just like a big thing that they decided to do. So I don't know.
Well, is 6 Santa Barbara Town?
Oh, 6 is Santa Barbara
Yeah,
Town. That's
because
right.
3,
Yeah,
4, and 5 are all the yin yang stuff,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, Santa Barbara Town. Yeah,
Plus the
was kind of
finale, the yin yang finale, having it be fucking RoboCop is like
yeah.
pretty sweet. You
That
know.
was also it too, because yeah, season probably I would say probably 3 to 6. I don't remember as many memorable ones as season 7, but like that was like they had like fucking guest star after guest star of just like
Hmm.
huge fucking names of like
Yeah.
just like I mean you had like pop stars, pop celebrities like John Cena, but then you also had like stars from the '80s, like they had
Hmm.
fucking who the fuck
The Tears for Fears guy.
yeah, they had Tears for Fears. They had Breakfast Club. They had
Because what? Hold on, wasn't the Tears for Fear guy who rented him to play the songs?
that was Juliet's boyfriend who was like the
The
billionaire or
billion,
whatever, and
the
he
guy
like
who
had a house party and he was like
yeah.
keeping Tears for Fears like hostage in his
He just
house.
keep playing the songs.
Keep playing, and then
Wasn't
they like made
wasn't
Tears
wasn't
for
he
Fears.
lying?
No, he wasn't lying, but he was like he was lying in the fact that he was like whatever, I can't even remember his, I think his name is like Sting or something like that, but it's not Sting. Whatever his name was, they were like, oh yeah, he just wanted to stay and hang out, and he's like, no, he's paying me a bunch of
No,
money.
no, it wasn't her boyfriend. 'Cause I can't remember the storyline. Wasn't her boyfriend like lying about
Oh,
something?
that was before. Yeah, he was lying about being
A detective or a
criminal
profiler or something, right?
a profiler.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
he like got a like an online degree, or
Yeah,
he faked a bunch of degrees and was like, because that was the episode that yeah, Sean was like reading an audiobook and it was like the same stuff
the
that
same
like
stuff. Yeah,
that he was getting all this stuff from, and he was like, you fucking faker.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good episode too. Yeah, there was
Well,
some good stuff in there.
what else have you been checking out?
Other than that, I thought I'd just talk about a couple of the anime that I've been watching because this
Sure.
is basically the wrap up of the spring 2020 season. Most shows either wrapped up or have like one more episode left. So, thought I'd go through a few of the highlights, which is fucking breakout hit this fucking season was My Next Life as a Villainess, which was a fucking
Sounds like an anime.
banger harem comedy. This is
Uh,
like honestly, you should probably check this out. It's like really good, like slice of life, good comedy. I really
but
enjoyed it
it's
a
a
lot.
harem.
Reverse harem.
Reverse.
So it's
Wait, so it's a girl and a bunch of
so
boys,
the girl with a bunch of boys, and also a couple girls thrown in too.
right? So what's the
So
give me the elevator pitch?
so the basic gimmick is the girl. Basically, a girl gets reincarnated in a different world, and the entire world is based off a romance game that she played a lot when she still lived in like the regular world.
Hmm.
And the person that she reincarnated in this game world is the main villainess of the game.
Right.
And so, in every single story route through the romance game, the character she reincarnated as dies in some
Okay.
way. And so the whole point of the show is like her trying to avoid her death by like building up relationships with all these characters and stopping the actual like main heroine from the game from like falling in love, because basically anybody that she falls in love with ends with her character either getting exiled or getting like stabbed or dying or something like that.
Right.
So it's fun to like see a lot of stuff of like just her trying to avoid these situations. They have great like mini monologues where she has like courtroom like strategy meetings in her head to like figure out like based on what she knows about the game like how she can avoid these situations and stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun. I had a great time with it, and the
So
art's pretty
it's
artsy too.
a harem, reverse harem isekai is what it is.
Yes, it's a reverse harem
Jeez.
isekai anime.
Okay,
Yeah,
they're getting deep with these things, man.
they're getting into the nitty gritty, man. They're really trying to pull out all the stops. So we had that. That was a big hit. Show that I just finished this morning was I don't really know. There's not an English name for it, but it's called Kakushigoto, and the whole premise is guy's a manga writer, but he writes like dirty joke manga, and so he has like a small daughter, and the whole point is he's trying to basically hide his job from her because he doesn't want to like for her to be embarrassed or anything like that. So it's
Right.
all about like him being a manga writer and also like having to live like this double life and like just taking care of her and stuff like that. And I don't really want to spoil it, but there's a good like past and present storyline going on, and it wraps up very
Oh,
nice.
is there a flash forward where she's older?
Yeah, there's a flash forward where she's older, and there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that happens with her dad, and some revelations about like what's been going on in her
Let
life.
me
Like,
ask you this:
So
This is not really related to this anime. It's just related to that style of storytelling.
yeah.
Do you like when they do the concurrent future past storylines, like in True Detective season 3? Like, do you
I
enjoy that,
think
or do you think it's bad?
I don't mind it a lot. I think I it depends because I think there's a way to tell it and there's a way to use the gimmick that really really works. Like I think True Detective season 3 does a really good job of using the multiple timelines to really, you know, have a way to push the story forward and
Right.
like give more depth to, especially with that character, give a lot of depth to what's going on of him going through the case in the past is like him like triggering memories in as you know an old man. And so I think that there's a certain aspect to it that really as a gimmick can work really really well. I think the best way to do it is usually if you've got a flash forward, you only use it as like a tease to something that's going on, which this
Mm-hmm.
anime does really really well because it's really you're trying to figure out. In the first episode, you see that like she kind of like goes to this old house where like her dad stored all of his drawings, and so you're really trying to figure out like why she went there and what's going on, and you get like teases of it every episode. It's really until the last episode, there you really only spend like a minute or two every episode, and like in like the present timeline. Um, it's much more about like her and her dad's relationship, like in the past. So I think that's a good way to do it, where you're kind of just like teasing a little bit. I don't. I think the bad way to do it is where you've got something that like I can't think of a good example of it, but it's like I think action movies kind of do it a lot, where it's like something is the main thing is like how did we get here type of thing, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like you get like 5 to 10 minutes or whatever of like something that's happening in the future, and then you flash all the way back to the past, and it's like the how did we get here? And I feel like
Right.
that's usually never well done because then all of the narrative tension till you get back to the present is like gone because it's like
Right.
oh well I know nothing's going to happen to them unless it's not about something happening to them, then it makes a little bit more sense. But usually in action, I think action movies are really bad. uh what is it, really bad? Trying to think of the word. um I don't know, they usually are the worst about doing that type of thing where using a flashback and like telling the story
Mm-hmm.
like going back to the past and then telling the story forward usually like I don't know, you usually just gets rid of like any sort of like mystery or questions or any sort of like concern for the characters because it's like I know nothing's seriously going to happen
Well, you
other
know,
than what they
like
showed me.
for me, I really like disenjoy, if you want to call it, if you want to use
Mm.
a fake word. I really
Yeah.
don't like it ever. Like pretty much
Okay.
any time I don't like that storytelling. Um,
Okay.
I mean, there are definitely good examples. Like for True Detective season 3, to me it just felt tiresome. I'm
Mm.
watching. I'm like, okay, you do something. The case you either solve the case or don't solve the case. You're
Yeah.
telling me that you solved it clearly because your wife wrote a book about it. Spoiler for season 3. I didn't even finish it. There's a
Yeah.
book that your wife wrote. She was working
Hmm.
there. Flashback to the past. I'm like, just tell me. I'd rather just have a linear progression story. But then you
Hmm.
stuff like Westworld, where I'm like watching the show, and now you're trying to trick me. Where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's the character that you're showing me later. I'm like, okay, that I get what you're trying to do. It could seem cool. Some people could be like, oh, wow, the whole time. I
Yeah.
hate that, right? That because it's a personal preference. I like just not being tricked, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, I think that if you just cut back constantly,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna give you a good example that to me I never thought that I would say. Two good
Hmm.
examples of uses of this type of storytelling that I actually like.
Okay.
One is Kamen Rider Kiva, which
Okay.
was like from like 2008 or 9, which is a vampire story. He's a vampire hunter,
Hmm.
and the main character is a Kamen Rider,
Hmm.
and he grew up in this house by himself. His parents are dead or gone or whatever, and he
Hmm.
can never leave his house. And then finally, he leaves his house and he becomes Kamen Rider,
Hmm.
right? Well, it flashes back to when his dad was a young vampire hunter in the same
Okay.
town and building the house up and making it his house. And it's his story, and it ends up becoming okay. How does the dad meet the wife, who's a
Hmm.
vampire, and they have a baby? And it's two linear stories that are
Okay.
connected, but don't necessarily, not every episode's based on one another. It's just two
Okay.
continually progressing stories. I like that. I like the use of it there, and the other use that I actually enjoy is in Riverdale because my
Okay.
girlfriend and I watched the first season of Riverdale a year and a half ago, whatever, right?
Okay.
And we genuinely wanted to watch the show, and we
Mm-hmm.
thought it was fine. And we watched season two, and we went, "Wow, this show is fucking trash," right? So she watched season three. I didn't watch season three at all, but season
Okay.
four just got put on Netflix recently. So now
Mm-hmm.
we're hate watching it because it's so trash and it's so bad. But
Mm-hmm.
like you're like, oh my fucking god, I have to keep watching because it's so fucking terrible.
That's the one with Dylan Sprouse, right?
Whoever that one is, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Whatever the
But
twins.
this season, at the end of certain episodes, they keep hinting at like they flash forward to like months in the future to a mystery,
Okay.
and I'm fine with that because they're teasing something in every episode. You're getting a
Okay.
little bit more, but it's only like 30 seconds of it. They're not giving you minutes of shit, you
Right.
know. Um, but overall, I really don't enjoy that type of
Mm.
storytelling. I mean, obviously it can be good. I think in anime it's a little easier to control because it's like it's anime. You can just
Yeah.
draw them looking older.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think as far as True Detective season three, I think there are definitely points where it got a little bit more tiresome, but I also think um I don't know, I think that one was much less about the case and more about like I mean it's still about the case, but I think it did a good job of like showing the fractured mind state of like him going through Alzheimer's and stuff like that. And so in that aspect of like journeying through the past and then like forgetting where he was in the present and stuff like that, I think that was an interesting way to go about it. Um, but I definitely could see how that would get tiresome for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I preferred season one style, which is just like we're gonna just flash forward.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna tell the
Flash
young
forwards usually work better.
we're
Yeah.
gonna tell the young story, and then give you all you need, and then I get because it gives the writers the ability to create mystery out of nothing. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna have a scene here 10 years in the past, and then we're gonna cut 30 years in the future, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. They just said some random ass line about how
Hmm.
he and his friend haven't talked in years. I'm just giving it like a fake example, and you
Yeah.
go, well, what happened? What happened between there where they can't talk anymore? It's like it creates inherent easy
Hmm.
mystery and question and intrigue, which I get. I
Yeah.
just this overall, I just don't care for it. You know.
Yeah. I could see that for sure. Um, so that was that, and then the last one I really kind of want to talk about was I watched Tower of God, which just
Right.
finished.
Right.
I actually don't think the last episode felt like a season finale, but I guess it still has one left. I don't know. I guess I'll trust them, but I mean, it's basically I watched 12 episodes. First 12 episodes, solid series. I really like it a lot. Um, Based off a Korean manga. There's a good hint of mystery into it. I really like where they're going. The last episode made me completely hate one character. The character's a fucking bitch. I hope she fucking dies. And apparently she doesn't, which makes me even more upset. Um, but
What weirds me out about when they first off, I feel like Japan's running out of good manga if they're just constantly using manhwa as
uh,
sources.
I don't know because I feel like this is I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's weird because this is the season where it's like I mean, this is really the first time it's really as far as like because the this whole thing is a partnership between Crunchyroll and Webtoons, and so it's like
Uh,
now it's the big hubbub this year was basically like, oh, fuck, dude, are we gonna start getting more fucking Korean
or
stuff
even
animated?
like a couple of seasons ago, there was that French one,
Was there?
like that
What's the
French
French?
fantasy one with the blonde kid.
Hmm.
Shit,
I
what
don't
was like
remember.
Deviant, maybe Deviant,
I
day,
don't remember.
days, days gone by. Hold on,
Days gone
French
by is the game.
French manga. I'm gonna search for French manga. Radiant.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Radiant.
yeah.
That
I
became
never watched that,
that
but
became an anime, and that's a French thing, you know. So
yeah,
it makes me wonder, like, man, I wonder, like, obviously it's just easier because it's already published and you can just take it, and people have never seen it before in
yeah.
Japan, unless I mean maybe they have, I don't know, but like, you
It's
know,
definitely not as popular, and
so
I think
you can
that's
like
a
take a
big part of it
property,
too.
you
Yeah,
can take a property and like as a studio you can go, hey, I don't have to worry about, you know, Japanese tropes. I'm just take the story and then run with it.
yeah. I also think that it does a good to it does good for the industry because as far as I mean, especially as far as from what I've seen of Korean manga, it just injects a whole different set of ideas and tropes and character types and stuff like
But
that. And I
let's
mean,
be honest though. Let's be
hmm,
honest right now about manhwa. Let's
yeah,
be honest, and you disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. Just know that you're
okay,
wrong.
all right,
Manhwa looks like shit.
yeah, a lot of it does.
It looks like trash. The
Especially, I've watched.
oh my god, the panel
I looked
is
at some of the
terrible.
first for Tower of God, and yeah, Tower of God's for that first art for like I think it's like the way that the people in my Facebook group talked about it because one of the guys read Tower of God and he's like it's split up into season. And he's like the first season is like terribly drawn, like it looks awful, but the
But do
gets
they even?
progressively better throughout
It,
time. But
I've glanced at manhwa.
there are some that look good, like the God of High School that
Well,
I was telling you about the other day. That shit looks
I'm saying
fucking.
I looked at God of High School before, like years ago, and I looked at it recently when I saw
Yeah,
that they were doing it. Um, and I don't know, is manhwa always in vertical panels?
it's always in vertical
Okay,
panels. Yeah.
that's fucking trash. That's terrible
It's the way
storytelling.
that I think it's the way that Webtoons does it. They do it in vertical.
No, no, hold on, real quick. If you know this, you can help me out because I have no idea. Are
Okay.
these things published somewhere?
Yeah, they're published on Webtoons, which is like its own. The way Webtoons works is it's basically its own. It's almost like the YouTube of like manga, where it's like anybody can like create something on Webtoons and like upload it onto Webtoons, and so it's not.
So is there no like Korean weekly published manhwa magazine or something? Do you know?
I don't know for sure.
Because the idea that like if all of manhwa is only in vertical rectangular panels or
I think
like this,
yeah.
to me that is inherently a terrible form of storytelling.
I don't mind it, but I think I
It
mean, it
takes
definitely doesn't
all
look as good.
energy is removed. Like splash pages are gone.
Yeah, I think that's probably the worst part is the lack of splash pages, and I think it also loses something. But it's also, I mean, it's not most of it's not actually printed in paper, and so I guess it's kind of adapting to the medium in that kind of way. But you also lose a bit with, I mean, horror manga is a great example, but it's like you kind of lose the page turn, and that's kind of
Yeah.
not there, which is really sad because a lot of great moments in manga and comics in general come from the art of the page turn. But that's something that's not really there in webtoons, at least from the ones that I've read. Um, and so, I mean, that's definitely a weak point of it for
Yeah.
sure.
Like you lose the ability to have like a power up flip page where like you have an entire page of the power up and then you turn the page to see the final form or the next stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think
If you can't do
the
can
thing
you
is
can
that it's still there. It just I think it loses impact because it's not
but
in the moment of like a
do
page
full
turn.
page art in that or is it just panels
Yeah,
still?
there are I've because one of the ones I read a lot of was Noblesse, which is also
Right.
getting animated. I think that's getting animated by Crunchyroll in like the fall or something like that. But I read a lot of that too, and there's definitely full spreads that they do for certain things depending on what's going on. Um, but I think the big part about it is that it just loses a lot of impact
All
by
right.
losing
I'm
the
going to
page.
look right now at the latest chapter of The Breaker, which I know is a pretty popular manga, right? No, never mind.
Yeah,
I think that's over. Let me pick a current one.
I can't
Um,
remember what it
what's
is.
a current manga besides like God of High School still going, right?
I think God of High School is
No,
still
No
going.
Bleeds is still going, right?
Yeah, Tower of God is still going
All
on.
right, let me do Tower of God then, since you just talked about it. Tower of God. Let me search this. Oh, it's not working. I can't find it.
Uh,
Tower of. It's not. Fucking goddamn it. Okay.
I'm trying to see. Oh, never mind. Tower of God just ended.
Just
Fuck.
ended. Okay. Here's No Blues right here. Okay, I'm found it. I'm on obviously on a website that has a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna scroll down to the current or the last chapter of Noblesse from last year, January 8th. All right, let's look at this pan. Let's look at this page. First off, terrible first page. It's all in color, isn't it?
Yeah. That's I think that's a big thing that it has. I mean, because it's all done on the web, and so a lot of it is a lot of them are in full color the whole time.
Okay, now first off, how do you feel about that?
I don't mind it. I mean, it reminds me of American comic books because most American comic books are in full color, and so I think it's an interesting mix of like Western and Eastern styles. Um,
I think from what I've seen, it's lacking something. It always, even like 10 years ago, when I would just randomly go, "Oh hey, this Noblesse is on the top viewed, or the Tower of
yeah.
God's on the top viewed, or whatever." So let me just check it out and see what it is. It's so instantaneously noticeable that's different from manga. Like the lack of manga like lines, like
Hmm.
something about, and like even like when I've noticed the big thing for me is that when they do interiors or exteriors of buildings and stuff like that in classrooms and rooms, there's
Yeah.
like the shading is not right. The shading is
Mm,
not correct because it's all digital colored, and I don't know if that's because the artist isn't professional in terms of the sense of like, it makes sense now if you're telling me that people post this to a website. Um,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I
it's something about the medium for
don't
sure.
like it.
I don't mind it. I don't know.
The art
I
and
don't
the
really.
art now the art for this Noblesse thing, like it looks, the art is fine. Like, in terms of like the
Yeah.
stylistically, it's not bad art.
Yeah.
I think I would like it if it was just manga colored, like just black
Yeah.
paper. I would appreciate because it would be like, here, let me send this to you, so I
Hmm.
show you an example of what I'm talking about. And no one can see
Okay.
this, so I apologize to everybody. Only Zach and I can see this. It's a panel from the last chapter of Noblesse of
Okay.
a building or a
Hmm.
school or whatever the fuck this is. And to me, this looks like deviant art and or like really shitty like animations or something like that. That to me just
Yeah.
don't look good. I don't know if it's because they're generating buildings or the way they're coloring it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a CG building that they just took a screenshot. I don't know what it is. But
Maybe. I
something
don't
about this
know.
I see all the time, and even the panel below it, something about the way that it's colored or whatever it is, I don't know what it is. Just bugs
Yeah,
me.
I think there's definitely a bit, especially yeah, when you come to like backgrounds and like buildings and stuff like that. I think there's a I don't know. There's a certain part of it that maybe it's just because a lot of these artists just don't have. I think a lot of it
They're by
might be that
themselves. They're by
they're by
themselves working.
themselves.
You
Yeah,
know,
they
I
don't
get
have a
it.
lot of oversight, and so yeah, I mean, there's definitely I think there's stuff
Well,
that
even in
falls
the
through
sense
the
that like
cracks.
mangakas have two, three, four, five assistants,
Yeah.
and I get it. If you're by yourself, that's fucking DIY as shit. You
Mm,
know, and it could be that just that I'm so predisposed to American comics or like
mm.
Western comics or manga. Like I'm just
Yeah.
like that's all I'm used to. Because
Right.
something in the middle, like what Mama looks like, just to me just looks so unprofessional.
Mm.
And that could be because I just don't read it. It could be because I just don't have sat down and like tried it long enough to really like give it a shot.
Yeah,
Um,
I think honestly, the way I would look at it is it's almost like I would say it's a difference between somebody like going into the film world. It's like the difference between watching like like a class A director like a fucking
mhm.
Steven Spielberg or something like that. That's like fucking manga or like American comics. And this I would consider more of like it's like an independent like B movie almost, where it's like
Sure.
you can tell like the budget isn't there as much. It's something that's like it's like very a lot of the times, especially with the early work, it's like amateurish in a
Hmm.
way
Hmm.
of where it's very much like for a lot of these people, it's like I mean they're breaking into the industry for the first time, and so there's a lot of like growing pains and stuff like that that comes with it, and so I think that's kind of the way I would look at it.
Sure.
Is yeah.
I get that. Um, but what else have you been checking out?
That was basically it. That's all
Okay.
I've really been checking out. Yeah,
Cool.
those are
Uh,
the big series.
I got a couple things, some comic book stuff actually. So
Ooh, okay,
perfect segue. First thing I checked out was a documentary on Amazon Prime
okay,
called Future Shock: The Story of 2000 AD. Now, 2000
okay.
AD is a legendary British weekly comic magazine anthology series that
Hmm.
was known mostly for Judge Dredd.
Okay.
And it's essentially a story about how it came to become a thing, the people who made it, like in the late 70s, its kind of rise and fall until the current era.
Hmm.
They talked to different publishers, different editors, editor in chiefs, that kind of stuff. Talked to Grant Morrison, how all the great British writers that we know
Nice.
filter through there. Like Grant Morrison started there. Alan
Mm,
Moore started there.
okay.
I think Mark Miller, I think he wrote there too.
Mm,
Um, Kevin O'Neill, who's the artist for with Alan Moore's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he
okay.
started there. A bunch of people who were British who came over started there, and then DC came over and and they go. There's a big part of the documentary where explaining like where they talk to the lady who started Vertigo, and
Mm,
being like, yeah, we went over, we saw their work, we went over to England, we talked to all these 2000 AD artists and creators, said, hey, want to come over to DC and we'll give you Animal Man, Grant Morrison, we'll give you this, we'll give you this, you know,
mm,
and it's about how that kind of when they poached them from 2000 AD, it left their magazine trying to figure out what the fuck to do because all their
yeah.
prime talent moved to America to work on DC books.
Right.
And that's part of the documentary. The whole thing is really, really good, especially since even if since we don't have any sort of connection to that content, like I couldn't tell you
Right.
any other character but Judge Dredd because
Yeah. Judge
I
Dredd's the
only know
only one
Judge
I
Dredd, and
know.
even about Judge Dredd, I mean, weekly since like the late '70s, like I could, dude, I know like
I remember I read
one
they came out
book.
with a new Dread series like when I was super into reading comics. Like I was reading like 5 series at least a day or something like that. Where it was like there was some weekly that he got like rebooted into, where it was like Judge Dredd like I feel like it was like 30,000 AD or something like that. It was like far into the future something. I
Right.
don't remember what it was, but yeah.
I've only ever read the IDW Judge Dredd stuff,
Hmm.
which is not. I don't believe it's reprint. That's all. I think that should just be all original stuff for IDW.
Hmm.
Um, and those are like 25 issues, 10 issues, or something like that. So in terms of the Judge Dredd lore, because it's from what I understand, one continuous story. There's no like, you know, he ages. It's all chronological.
Right.
So, and I ended up downloading the app. They have an app, right, where you can like subscribe and get all the magazines and stuff in the Judge Dredd magazine, which is what it's called.
Okay.
Um, because to order the trade paperbacks, they have all the volumes of years of Dredd.
Hmm.
It's like $20 U.S. or 20 something British dollar, whatever the fuck it's called, pound,
Okay.
whatever. But the shipping is fucking $20 alone.
Right.
So I'm like, if I buy 6 volumes, it's $60 plus another fucking 20 something, 90 bucks. Nah. So
Jesus.
it makes it really tough because they don't really they don't print this stuff in America. You know,
Right.
they printed like the first 10 volumes and there's like 40 volumes now. So I'm like, you know
Jesus.
what? Either I read Dread the other way, you
Hmm.
know, the illegal
Right.
way, or I try to support 2000 AD. But the documentary is really good. I think in terms of just history of comic book geekdom, especially
Hmm.
this the section about Alan Moore and Grant Morrison and Kevin O'Neill and a bunch of the other British artists that came over.
Hmm.
Neil Gaiman's in it, so it's all these guys who are huge in American comics who are pivotal.
Right.
Like it makes sense to watch it just for that alone. So watch that.
Okay.
Then I read the first arc of Umbrella Academy called the
Okay.
Apocalypse Song, I believe is what it's called. 6 issues for the first arc, and only because I remember the second season's coming out next month, and I wanted to kind of
Okay.
see how different the first season was from the first arc. It's pretty fucking different,
Okay.
but it's really good. It's really good. Arc's really, the first arc's really good. The art's good as well. Cool
Okay.
story. It's Doom Patrol, and that's fine because I know that Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance has always said that he's a pretty big Doom Patrol fan. I'm pretty sure he's a big fan of Grant
Hmm.
Morrison's Doom Patrol, and the Umbrella Academy is straight up fucking Doom Patrol. Did you
Yeah.
end up watching the show?
No, I still haven't watched it yet. I
I
need to
think you would
watch
like
it.
it a lot because honestly, I think the show's better than the first arc of the comic book. Do you know the
Okay.
premise at all?
I know that the basic premise is that there's like there was a bunch of kids that got born with superpowers and like one guy like
Yeah.
adopted them all or something like
So
that, and
a
so they
bunch
all
of
like live in the house or
right, a bunch
something.
of kids were born the same day, and then
Yeah.
this guy is actually like a alien
Oh, okay.
adopts all of them, and they all have powers, and he treats them and trains them to fucking fight crime, which is like
Okay.
it's a Doom Patrol, except for the fact that they're all born the same day. Like there's like
Right.
they have little weird nifty powers, and there's a weird relationship, and it's like it's such Doom Patrol inspired, but it's not in the sense of like I'm just copying it. You know, it's like
Right.
clearly that it's an homage, it's style, but it's a
Mhm.
Gerard Way. It's not like I'm just gonna nick this from Grant Morrison's weird
Right.
Doom Patrol run and just steal it. No, it's weird, but it's also like its own complete thing. So
Okay.
I read the first 6 issues. It's really fun, really good, interesting, fun story. Way different from the first season of the show. The next
Okay.
two things that I read are also comic book stuff. Are from Valiant, which
Okay.
I have never read before. Never read Valiant. Never cared to read Valiant. But something about uh, just the current state of superhero comic books, I wanted to just check it out.
Right.
So I read the rebooted first issue of Exo Manowar, which is fucking science fiction as shit. It is fucking classic science fiction. Exo Manowar, which is the premise is an old what's it called? What's the I forget what era they're called, but it's an old like British knight kind of character, soldier character,
Medieval.
somewhere around there. I can't remember what they're called. What the actual like? There's an actual like type of army. I forget what they're
Oh,
called.
Crusaders.
No, no, no. It's an old type of soldier. I don't know what the name is. If you Google it, you can find it in like 2 seconds. But
Okay.
he's an old like kind of era of knights and stuff like that. He gets
Okay.
kidnapped by these weird spider aliens and put into like a slave camp, and
Okay.
then he ends up stealing this living sentient armor, which is like
Okay.
the Man of War armor, and then he goes to the future to like our time, and it's this science fiction ass fight of him fighting the aliens and all this kind of stuff. Um,
Okay.
and I read the first trade from 2012 of the reboot from 8 years ago, and then I read the first issue of the current run, which is on issue one, and it's really good. It's really good for what it is. It's like super pulpy science fiction. To me, it reminds me of like what you would read in like the 60s.
Right.
It's a classic science fiction story. I'm really enjoying that. I'm hoping for more issues of that. And then from last year, another Valiant reboot is called a book called Rye, which is about a cybernetic samurai who's
Okay.
from like cybernetic New Japan, and he looks like Bloodshot but a samurai, and it's on issue 6 or 7, and it's fucking cool. It is really cool. It is like it's cyberpunk, it's future, it's samurai, it's awesome. It's 6 issues so far, I believe, of just fucking cool ass stories. Um, so I would
I
read
dig
that.
it.
I would read it. It's a cool. The art's great. It's really awesome. I've never read Ride before, so to me this is all new.
Okay.
So I'm really enjoying the Valiant stuff. Last couple things. Watched Minority Report.
Fuck yeah.
Still really good. Still a
Still fucking
classic.
solid.
Rewatched Fright Night remake.
I
I
We
think
talked about that
I
before.
think it's still
It's
really
still
good.
good. I mean, I think for me, honestly, Colin Farrell and Anton make that fucking
Oh,
movie.
absolutely, absolutely. They're both so good in it. And honestly, I was thinking about it after 'cause I watched it 2 days ago.
Hmm.
Excuse me. I think that I still prefer it over the original. Um, I think
Yeah, I think I do.
I think Anton Yelkin's I don't know performance is just so much more compelling than the original guy. I can't even tell you who's in the original movie because I don't know their
I don't know.
names. But I like it so much more. I like David Tennant is really great in there.
Yeah,
I think the
he's
whole
good.
movie, it's the concept is really cool, and I don't think it's a remake that I don't think it's a remake that loses anything. I think it's
Right.
either at the same level or, in my personal opinion, I think it's a little bit better,
Okay.
which to me is very rare. That I prefer remakes. Um,
Right.
the only other remake I can think that I like more than the original is probably The Thing.
Yeah.
I think that's really it. I can't think of any other remake that I prefer. No,
Yeah.
Oceans. I like Oceans more.
Oh yeah.
I like
Oceans
Oceans
for sure.
remake more for sure.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I am uh, halfway. No, I'm like 65% through a
Okay.
rewatch of Stranger Things season 3 again.
Okay.
There's no reason why I'm watching it. Just wanted to watch it.
Just wanted to.
just wanted to.
Do
So
you still have as many problems with it as you did when we first talked about it?
I don't think I had many problems with season 3 in terms of.
Can't remember.
I don't think I had too many problems with it in terms of fucking story.
Hmm.
I think my biggest issues with season 3, I could be wrong because I can go back and listen to the episode.
I can't remember. It's
When we
been a
talked
while.
about it, it's been a while. Yeah. My biggest issue still is just the fact that I want Steve to have a better life, and and Steve's
Yeah,
life blows. Like that's it.
yeah.
It fucking sucks for the guy. No
Steve
he
Life blows hard, man.
he's a dick in the first season, and then becomes not a dick. Gets a girlfriend, loses the girlfriend. Season two gets into a fight, gets his ass kicked, can't
Yeah,
win. He makes friendship with the kids. Season three, he works at an ice cream shop, couldn't get into college.
yeah.
Um, so his dad's punishing him.
Mm,
Talks to his only friend's a fucking kid. He likes his coworker kind of, but she's gay.
yeah,
He wins a fight, but then gets tortured. So like, there's like a whole thing where like
yeah.
where Steve's life blows, and I want
Steve has a rough time in
a rough
season
time.
three.
So I think in the final season they have to like do a future, like the little fucking text where it says what happens in the future, and it
Yeah,
has to be like Steve Harrington becomes governor of Indiana or something because he has to have a better future than fucking just that.
yeah.
So that's really all I've been checking out. Oh, also I haven't read it yet, but I picked it up at my comic book shop
Good.
on Friday. The first issue of Death Metal came out,
Okay.
which is the sequel to Metal, DC Metal.
The Batman thing.
Yeah, this is a sequel to that. It's called Death Metal.
I didn't even know they
Um,
had a sequel to it. Fuck.
I didn't even read Metal. I had to buy I bought the paperback, the trade paperback.
I read Metal. It's not. I did not enjoy it that much, but
Yeah, I picked it up primarily just to support my comic book shop.
yeah,
And well, I mean, I bought Death Metal because I want to read it, but I bought the trade paperback for Metal because I
yeah,
haven't read it and I want to support my comic book shop. So I bought both. I have that, and then it's just sitting there in my stack waiting to be read. I'm gonna read it tonight
yeah.
probably.
I mean the concept of Metal was interesting to me because I like the alt parallel universe of Batman's and
Right.
like Batman's are evil, but then it all just ends with like the Joker Batman again, and I'm like, I don't care
Oh yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
Joker Batman. Like, I
Well, I
don't
tell you
give a
what,
fuck.
Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, or at least primarily Scott Snyder,
Yeah,
is such a fucking Joker nerd,
he's a fucking Joker. Yeah, he's a fanboy for sure.
and it's not a bad thing, except that's a bad thing because the Joker sucks.
I mean, he has some good Joker storylines. Like Death in the Family is a really good. It's probably
Hated
one of
it.
the better Joker storylines. I
Hated it.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than almost any of the other Joker storylines I've heard. But
I've been consistent with my thinking on Scott Snyder's Batman stuff. Is that I once it became New 52 era Batman, I stopped caring. I
mm,
hated his writing. I hated Court of Owls. I hated all that stuff.
I didn't mind Court of Owls.
I thought it sucked. I hated it. Art was great. I
Uh,
hated it. I loved. I still. To me, the pinnacle of his Batman is
mm,
Detective right before New 52. All of the fucking Gordon Jr. shit.
mm,
That's all great detective noir serial killer stories. Like all
mm,
horror stuff, prime American vampire stuff. And then this is like I don't like any of it. I haven't read I read up to year zero year. Was that what it's called?
yeah, Zero Year.
And
Yeah,
I was like, you know what?
Zero Year
Done
was
done.
honestly way too overhyped, and it was way more boring than the amount that they overhyped it. Because I think it was like they like teased it and like right after the Quarter Owls, I think they did like an issue where they teased it, and then it took like another year and a half after that for us to get to year zero. And I'm like, I don't understand why it's taking us so long to get to a storyline that like honestly was like not even. It was just another fucking Batman origin
You
story,
know,
and
it's
like
even worse
I don't
that
care.
this summer, I think next issue are coming up in Batman, and
Mm,
it's not Scott Snyder, it's not Tom King, it's James Tynion, but it's
mm.
going to be the new event this year for Batman is called the Joker War. Look, man, I'm fucking tired. I'm tired
Didn't they
of
just have one? Because I thought the whole thing was that there was like some shit that happened where it was like there's actually three Jokers that like are concurrently in the universe at the same time or some shit, and he
I don't
learned that
know.
when he sat in Orion's all-knowing chair or some fucking
I
bullshit.
literally haven't read Detective or Batman in however long. I just started picking up again because it's not Tom King.
Yeah, I haven't read it since I think right when he started the Catwoman shit was like I was like I'm out. I don't care.
Something about look, man,
Mm.
I love Batman.
I like the problem that I have is that everybody focuses on the Joker, and that all the other villains are so much better than the
I
Joker.
love Batman. I love Batman a lot. I think he's one of the
Yeah,
greatest characters of all time.
yeah.
Now, also on the flip side, he's also a stupid character because just kill people and you would save the city more. But
But then no more comic books, Jason.
well, you have the Punisher, and the Punisher still goes.
That's true.
Ghost Rider still goes.
But Punisher just kills random fucking people.
Daredevil kills people. He still goes on fine.
Well, he's
Um,
got Punisher also doesn't kill everybody because I mean the Jigsaw's a recurring villain,
that's
right?
not
So
because
it's
that's not
like,
because he doesn't try to. He tries to kill, and he
oh,
gets away.
oh, well,
Or comic book logic comes into play where he's like, Frank's like, I fucking killed you. He's like, no, you didn't. Nah, didn't do
nah,
it. Didn't do it.
nah,
Like, remember, okay, this is comic books, obviously.
right,
Dakin, Wolverine's son,
yeah,
literally cut off Frank's arms and then killed Frank, and like after Civil War or some shit, like the Dark Avenger era,
yeah.
and then he became Frankenstein, where he was
Dark Adventures was Skull, Skull, Skulk. What are they called? Skull Invasion.
Skrulls. No,
Scrolls.
no, the
Yeah,
Dark Avengers is
I thought that
when
was Skrull.
that's Secret Invasion.
Okay,
The Dark Avengers, from what my memory is, that was like 12 years ago, was
right.
when Norman Osborn took over the Avengers as like Iron Patriot, and he had all the
Right, but
bat.
I thought that was because Norman Osborn was like a Skrull. Was that not?
I hate
I don't know.
maybe post
The
that,
Skrull shit
but
was so fucking confusing. I don't know.
well, that's all the he replaced Wolverine with Wolverine's son, and like
Yeah,
all that kind of
that
shit.
was the shit where they were like who the fuck else? They replaced like Hawkeye with like Bullseye or some shit.
Something like that, yeah, like the
Yeah,
equivalent.
yeah.
But fucking Punisher became Frankenstein, robot Punisher, and then most recently he stole the War Machine armor and was
Okay.
like Punisher War Machine. It's like, oh, well, color,
Now that's who should be
and
fucking
he's
War
just
Machine.
killing everybody.
Yeah, he gets a fine giant fucking Gatling gun on his
Yeah,
shoulder and he just fucking kills everybody.
He's just destroying everybody. But
Yeah.
I love Batman. He's great, obviously. But
Yeah.
to me, the Batman, the mistake that they don't have of Batman enough. Like they do it, people do it. They just don't do it enough, in my opinion. Is that if he's the world's greatest detective, tell a great detective story,
Yeah.
which they don't. Like
The only one they people always go back to is fucking Long Halloween and shit.
or Hush.
Or Hush, yeah.
I think of Hush as the other big like detective-y story where there's a mystery going on, and Jeff Loeb is writing this mystery, and also the art's great, obviously Jim Lee.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I dropped Batman and I started picking it up again because of the writer change, and
Mhm.
I haven't read the issue yet. I don't even know if it's out yet, but I haven't read it yet, and I'm getting back to that point where I'm like, maybe I'm gonna drop a bunch of books, because Ninja Turtles I still read every week or every month.
Right.
I read GI Joe. I read Transformers. I read. They just did a Masters of the Universe. I read
Oh
that.
fuck man. I'll read that.
I read the Ghostbusters still coming out. Pretty much anything from like fucking 80s shit I'm reading.
Yeah.
Uh, Bendis as Superman and Action have been terrible.
I'd heard that that not good stuff has been coming out of that
Yeah,
because I remember because I thought you were pretty excited about that.
I was excited for it because Superman's a character that I have never loved before. I've never
Right.
really loved Superman. I always thought he was really boring. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate what Superman should be. Like the character should be. Which is pretty much the anti Man of Steel Zack Snyder or Superman. To me, he's the pinnacle of hope, not like I'm a brute in a fucking boat.
Yeah.
And to me, Bendis is a guy who is really 50-50. Like, I think he's such a... I loved all the Miles Morales stuff. I love all the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff. I loved his Avengers run was kind of I thought his Iron Man was He created that Riri character for Iron Man, Ironheart. She sucks.
Oh yeah.
So he's hit or miss. Jessica Jones is cool. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But his independent book powers is really good. So I was like, you know what? People write Superman really bad because it's hard to write, I think.
Yeah.
How do you write an invincible character?
Yeah, how do you make an invincible character compelling in some sort of way when you can
it
literally
has to
just
be
like flick somebody?
No, it has to
and
be a
kill
Clark
them?
Kent story. That's my opinion. It has to be a Clark Kent story.
Yeah.
Or you make it a knockout, drag out fight battle where Superman's just fucking fighting for his life.
Just do a fucking Man of Steel fight, I guess.
Right, exactly. But I've really not been enjoying his Superman stuff at all.
Okay.
I think he's leaving that book soon. I don't know what he's gonna do.
I guess they weren't enjoying it either.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe his story's up. I don't know, but I think he's. I don't know if his contract is up or if he's going back to Marvel or if he's just gonna.
I can't imagine they only had him for that short of a contract.
Yeah,
I feel like it's been less than a year since
it's
he
been
started.
2 years, about two
Okay.
2.5 years, I think, something like that, maybe 3 years.
Has it really been that long? Fuck.
Yeah, I think 2018 is when he came over, but I don't know what he's gonna do. Maybe he'll do Justice League. Maybe he'll do Batman. I don't know what he's gonna do. How do you they give you the top they give you one of the top characters in history.
Yeah.
The only thing above him is Batman.
Right.
You know, in sales. So, I don't know what he's gonna do, but we can go ahead and move on to the news. Now, here's this thing. I've made little drops that you can't hear, but I can hear them. So I have no idea if they're gonna sound good or bad.
Is this true? Yes, it's true.
Okay.
This man has.
Yeah, I'll dig it.
All right, we're gonna talk about some news.
News time.
Now we're about an hour in, so let's hit the big news, and then I know we're gonna take some time talking about.
Yeah, we're gonna take a bit of time talking about our topic.
Let's just hit some big news, and then we can just kind of move right into the topic.
All right, biggest news, fucking Cyberpunk, man. God damn it, dude.
Yeah, that's so rough.
I don't know.
So rough. Cyberpunk 2077 gets delayed from September to November.
Another 2 months delay.
But they did post yesterday that people who buy the old game would be able to get the.
So even on the PS4, if you buy it on PS4, you should be able to get PS5.
Yeah, here's the lead-in article from IGN. Here's just the title. It's Cyberpunk 2077 free, more robust next-gen upgrade coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X in 2021.
Fuck it, that's how that should be, man.
So you buy it in November, and then they'll give you the update version for free, is what I'm understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the only thing that would make me buy a next-gen console right at holiday or a month or two after holiday.
Right.
After release, because from what the release is for both those systems right now, nothing to me is worth buying it just for that.
No, I don't. Nothing has compelled me to buy a PS5 at this point. So.
But if you tell me at release we're also going to be dropping Cyberpunk 2077 remaster, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I would be more inclined to buy it.
It's got to be an upgrade. It can't be like a remaster because it'll be like the same time. So it's not even have enough time. I mean, it's got to be just like an upgrade.
They called Last of Us remastered.
That's true, I guess.
You know, or they would just call it like.
I mean, I feel like that'd have been at least a year, hadn't it, since The Last of Us?
Probably a couple years, but like GTA 5 went from 360 to PS4, right?
Now it's coming to PS5, baby.
Now it's coming to PS5. So, Cyberpunk. To me, that's the biggest bummer is Cyberpunk being delayed again for the second time.
Bummer of the summer, dude. Can't believe it.
I'll hit on this D&D new D&D campaigns coming out.
Okay.
It's called Icewind Dale. Icewind Dale. Rime of the Frost Maiden.
A fucking D&D group, dude. God damn it.
And apparently this is supposed to be a kind of horror element. Horror elements of the story campaign. Now, I never really played campaigns. Even when we play, I don't really care about what the story is. I like the settings, and I'll use that to tell my own story.
Yeah.
But the
setting looks dope.
Yeah, I like having D&D books, so I'll probably buy it just to have it, even though we haven't played in like.
I want to play so bad.
In years now.
It's been, like 2016 or some shit at least.
Yeah, it's been a while since we played, and even when we played that little campaign with on Pathfinder, we only played a couple sessions.
Yeah, then I had to move. So.
Yeah, and I would love to play some D&D, but again, it goes back to having a good group, you know.
Yeah, that's the hard thing is trying to find a consistent group. Fuck, this art looks sick, dude.
Yeah, the art looks awesome for this D&D campaign. I don't know.
Oh, they look like they've got some interesting stuff going on here too.
I'm trying to see if there's a release date for it. September 15. So
September. Wow, that's pretty soon.
2 days before what should have been Cyberpunk. So D&D, I'll buy it because the art looks cool.
Yeah, damn, this art looks sick.
There's a new Bill and Ted Face the Music prequel comic book coming out from the original team from the 90s comic book. I had the original comic book from the '90s. I have a hardcover of it. Art is fine. Don't love it. It's really kind of weird cartooning. It looks good
Okay.
for what it is. It fits Bill and Ted. It's fine. But
Yeah.
anything Bill and Ted automatically I look into to buy.
Yeah.
Um, actually, some of the figures I have from Incendium,
Mm-hmm.
they have a new, which is a company. They have a new batch of bogus figures coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a phone booth that I need to get for my current Incendium Bill and Ted 1 figures,
Okay.
but they are overpriced. They're like
Yeah.
$30 a pop for a 5-inch figure
Jesus.
that you're gonna keep on the card. The phone booth is $40, and like, it's a lot of
Damn.
money. They look good, but I'm just
It's a lot.
waiting to
No.
buy. And they're on pre-order, so I have no idea when they're coming out. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
What
Fucking
else?
Pokemon Snap is back, bitch.
I didn't look at this. What is this?
So they're doing a whole new Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo Switch. It looks fucking good, dude. I can't wait to play it.
Did you buy a Switch yet?
No, and because they haven't restocked, and I'm still waiting for them to restock Nintendo Switches, and I'm not buying some off some fucking schmuck for like $500.
Yeah,
So
no way. What a stupid ass idea to not have enough product.
yeah, I don't know what's. I mean, I don't. I mean, the problem is that like, I mean, I get where they're coming from a sense, because like, who could have predicted that like the whole entire world was going to shut down for like 3 fucking months, and also your whole entire manufacturing outlet was going to be shut down, so you can't even make more. But it feels like such a waste, because it's like this is the perfect opportunity where like everybody would want to buy a Switch, and
Well,
now it's
even
like
when it fucking came
majority of
out,
people.
even when it came out, they've always been fucking
That's true. They were always pretty low on stock.
low on stock. And I get they want to keep they want
They
to
want to keep the demand high.
keep the
Yeah.
demand high, and if we don't have any in stores, people are going to
I don't
be
know, but
clamoring
honestly,
for it. But
it honestly gets to a certain point where it's like, I don't know, if your demand's this low or your stock is this low for so long, then I just give up caring.
well, it's the reason why I do this, right? I never have ever pre-ordered a game before.
Yeah.
Even with like Halo 3.
Mm-hmm.
All our friends pre-ordered Halo 3, and I'm like, listen, it's Halo 3.
Mm-hmm.
If I walk into a GameStop and I go, hey, please give me one copy of Halo 3,
Halo 3.
and they say, sorry, we're sold out, I'm going to go, okay, I'm never buying Halo 3, because that means that fucking Bungie didn't do their job and know
Yeah.
that this game is big enough to have this many copies. Now, if
Yeah.
it's like when I had a DS, or not DS, what's the one after DS?
The 3DS?
I had some DS game or whatever the fuck, or maybe it was even Switch. I don't remember what it was.
Maybe.
Something, and I was trying to buy a copy of Fire Emblem,
Mm-hmm.
whatever Fire Emblem was, the new one at the time, and I couldn't. No one had it in stores.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It's Fire Emblem.
It's not that big of a game.
But if you go into a store and go, hey, can I please have one copy of FF7 Remake? And they go, sorry, out of stock. I'm like, it's Final Fantasy 7.
How do you not have? How do you not overstocked?
Come on,
Yeah.
right? But like,
well, it's like if you went in and be like, I want one copy of Call of Duty, and they're like, I have no Call of Duty.
Right.
Like, how? What the fuck are you talking about?
You know,
Everybody plays Call of Duty.
I get that when I try to find a copy of Bravely Default, it was impossible. Yeah. I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
But for like something like a Switch, a console.
That's the thing that honestly kills me the most. It's like, how the fuck do you not have enough consoles?
I should be able to walk into any Target and fucking find at least 3 sitting there.
Dude, every time I go to Target, I check, and it's always just the fucking empty fucking cabinets of just like, this is where the Switches should be, but they're not because we don't have any.
We don't have any. And I get maybe it's saving them money. I understand it. You know, maybe there's a business mindset that I don't understand. But as a consumer, I'm like, I was going to spend $300 right now to buy your
right
system.
now. I fucking transfer it into my checking. I fucking pay $300 right fucking now.
But
and
now I'm not going to
pay
do
it.
that. If now the longer I can't find it, the more I'm not going to buy your system, because now it's getting closer to the next gen.
Yeah, I mean at this point,
whatever. Yeah. Yesterday was Jaws' 45th anniversary.
Ooh, nice.
Stranger Things season 4 scripts are finished and they're ready to move on to the next phase. Their Twitter account posted a picture of all the scripts in a stack.
So filming, right?
the filming, location scouting, whatever the fuck they're going
Yeah.
to do next. Supposed to be a new Kingsman trailer today at some point.
Hopefully. When's that movie
Apparently.
supposed to come out? Did that movie get delayed?
I don't remember, but I'm excited for it.
I feel like it was supposed to come out this summer.
I think so too. I'm Googling it right now. September 18th.
September. Okay. Well, okay. So it's still.
I'm very excited for this movie.
Yeah. No, I can't wait. This movie's gonna be good.
I'm more excited for this movie than I was for any of the other ones because to me the setting is so cool.
World War One, man.
World War One. I think they showed a picture of like Rasputin or something.
Yeah, dude, he's got the fucking double swords. He's fucking
Yeah.
doing crazy ass shit.
It's, I want this to be I want them to do this in a book series or comic book or something like that.
Yeah,
'cause
I want a new comic book for sure. Yeah.
Well, I read the Secret Service or whatever it's called, the original comic book, and I really did not like it because I don't think Mark Miller. He had a cool idea, but I think Matthew Vaughn really like made it cool.
Yeah.
So I want Matthew Vaughn to do a comic book. I don't want Mark Miller to do the comic book.
Okay.
So that's that. Anything else before we move on to
No,
Attack on
that was
Titan?
kind of the big stuff. Yeah.
New Star Wars game coming out. Who cares?
Oh yeah, new Star. I mean, it looks cool, but it's a CG trailer, so like I'm not even gonna like care too much until I see actual gameplay. But I mean, the concept's cool. I love dogfighting. So
There's a bunch of movie theaters opening up, but they also have to have masks.
you got masks, lots of cleaning and sanitizing. I think AMC said that they're restricting the number of people in theaters, which they should.
Yeah.
So
I agree. All right, let's move. Now we ran through news so we can do our topic, which is Attack on Titan seasons 1 to 3 review.
yes.
I'm playing a drop right now. They can't hear it, but we're gonna see if it sounds good. One more for the sake of drops.
Dylan, you son
Nice.
of a bitch.
So we're talking about Attack on Titan season 1
Dylan.
to 3. So, Zach, let's just start with this, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Attack on Titan before? Did you read it? Where were you at before this current
I've
watch?
never read it. I watched the first season and I finished the first season back when it was airing. Because I remember, well, when it originally started, I didn't watch season anime as much back then, and I think the reason that I got onto it was because our friends, I believe Darren, Tyler, and Keelan, maybe Shaquille, had all watched it, and they're like, "This is like the sickest shit ever," and I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I think they were over at my house one time, and so I think we watched like the first couple episodes, and I was like, fuck yeah, like I'm in here, I'm in for this. And so I watched the first season as it came out and then waited the eternity that was to get to season 2. And then I think at some point it got like lost in the tracks because I think when season 2 was airing, like I wasn't watching. I think I was at that point where I still wasn't back into watching anime again. And then season 3 came out like last year and I hadn't watched season 2 and I was like, well, I'm not going to watch it if I haven't watched season 2. So it kind of like fell by the wayside for me. But then, I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week that I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how good it was. So that was basically where I went into it. I had to rewatch season 1 again because I didn't fucking watch it in like 5 or 6 years or some fucking shit. No, 2013. So it's been like 7 years since I fucking
Which
watched
is so
it.
weird to me that it's been 7 years for only
Yeah,
2
it was
seasons.
so strange because I was watching Giguk's video about it because he did a video after I finished season 3. He did a video about it. He was like 2013, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, it was like that long ago." Like, Jesus.
Well, for me, I had even less exposure to Attack on Titan because I remember before the anime came out, probably a year or 2 before the anime came out, or I'm guessing this has been so long now.
Yeah.
I read the manga on Scanlation because it was at the top of the lists for like fucking, hey, this is really popular on the websites. Back when I was reading like scanned manga a ton. I don't really read manga that much anymore, but
Right.
I would go read like One Piece or something, and it's like right there, Shingeki no Kyojin or whatever. And on like Anime Tube, Manga Tube or whatever, like people who review shit, everyone kept talking about this fucking crazy ass manga. So I started reading it, and my initial reaction was, "Man, this art fucking sucks. This art is fucking terrible, dude. This dude can't draw worth shit, right?" When in reality, I understand if it's unintentional, but to me, it was like was westernized style, which I understand. It's unique enough to where you're gonna know exactly who this dude is.
Yeah.
So when I read the manga on scans, I only read it up until right before. First off, spoilers for all these 3 seasons.
Spoilers for everything. Yeah, yeah.
I read the manga up until right before Ymir goes Titan for the first time, and you see her jump out of the castle. So
wow.
I read up to that, which is not very far into the series, like
No.
maybe chapter 20 or something, 30, I don't know.
Okay.
Wow. Maybe not even that. Maybe 12 because it's monthly. So maybe 12 or 30, I don't fucking know. Something super early on.
Okay.
I only read that much. That's all that was out. And then I
Wow.
stopped and I didn't even touch it until fucking last week when we started watching the show. So
Yeah.
anything past that to me was all brand new.
Yeah. Okay.
So I remember, speaking of our friends, I was talking to our buddy Keelan years ago about Attack on Titan. It's probably like 3 or 4 years ago now, and we're talking about that scene, and I was like, so who else is a Titan? Like, there's other people, right? He goes, yeah, Ymir's a Titan, and I was like, who's Ymir? Because when I was reading it, to me they all look the same. I was like, I don't know anyone's names.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in the anime, the season 1 is the same shit, where it's just like, I feel like a lot of the characters, besides, like Eren, Mikasa, and Armin, were kind of like background characters. They were background characters. I mean, a lot of them were treated like background characters.
Yeah.
Except for John was kind of the one big standout, and John is a character I've grown to appreciate the most throughout watching.
So you call him John.
John, right?
I even though they say his name in the broken English, I just say his name is Gene.
Gene?
Like Jean Grey. Like that's how it's spelled.
I figured because I know it's definitely trying to get on like that Western style.
Yeah.
And so I assumed that they were trying to do like the European shit.
No,
and so I assumed it was like Jean.
It's 100% that, because his friend's name is what? Fucking Bert Holt.
They got fucking Marco, they got Marlo, they got fucking Berthold, Reiner.
So 100% you're right.
Yeah.
But in my mind, it's still Gene.
It's still Gene.
It's Gene. So after rewatching it, what was your opinion of season 1?
I still really liked season 1 a lot. I started making notes at the beginning just because I was like remembering shit, and I just like I forgot how fucking. I honestly had forgotten like how fucking dark it was, especially not even counting like the initial like wall breaking and shit like that, but like all the stuff like once they get out of boot camp and shit like that, and then once the Titan the wall gets crushed for a second time, and they're all new recruits, and like his entire squad gets fucking eaten in the span of like a minute, and I'm like, what the fuck? I totally forgot all this shit. I forgot how just like bleak it was, and how just so oppressive it feels, and like even in the way that like I don't know if this translates in the manga, but in the anime, just everybody's facial expressions is so just like stark and oppressive, and like the way that like lines are drawn on their face to like just show just how like like
intense.
dour and intense like everything is.
I think actually, from my memory of the manga, I think it's even better. I think the way that he draws, whatever the guy's name is, the way that he draws, because it is such a weird style.
Yeah.
That when he draws like Titans, I remember being like the Titans look creepy in the show. They're even like the creepy ones in the show are even creepier. In the manga, because it's like he is doing all that berserk style. Like scratchiness and the intensity of the lines and the line work. So I think they look even creepier in the manga for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a big thing for it, and then
because I mean like, it really is like for me, like having finally got past even the parts that I remembered very clearly, because I remembered pretty much all of that first part. I remember how his mom gets eaten alive. I remember
his mom getting eaten, and then I remembered a lot of it too, because the thing that I always went back to, I know I didn't watch it like every year, but I will occasionally watch it from time to time. That's kind of how I remember the beginning a little bit, because I watched the Attack on Titan abridged a lot, because that's just a funny shit, and I just remember. It's like the same reason that I watched like Full Metal Jacket, because I really like the drill sergeant shit that they do, and like the comedy they inject to it is really, really funny. But so I mean, the way that a bridge works, they use a lot of that animation, and so you know, I recognize a lot of that stuff from the beginning, but it was like basically like once they left boot camp, I was like, oh fuck, I like forgot about all this shit. Like
I
I remember he got eaten by a Titan, but I don't remember like exactly
right.
what happened or anything like
Well,
that.
I
So
remember the first part really well, which is the first two episodes. I remember
yeah,
that all really like extremely well.
yeah.
His mom being eaten alive is still really brutal, and
Dude, the fucking way that they make that Titan's face
yeah, it
look.
looks so good. And
Yeah,
then for me, I completely like forgot that right at the boot camp stuff happens.
yeah.
I thought that maybe they were like, and honestly, when I was watching the first season, I was kind of annoyed because I thought that
Mm,
like, I really didn't like the way it went straight to boot camp.
mm.
I
You
want,
didn't like the time skip?
I'm fine with the time skip, but I feel like, and this could be a personal storytelling thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 4 episodes or however long boot camp it was, not a very long part of the season,
Yeah, I think it's only like 2 or 3 episodes or something like that.
of like nothing. Like they hook you in at the beginning of the first season, the first episode,
Yeah,
like here's a big ass monster, blah blah blah, and then the next few episodes, like hey, here's how fucking they're giving you all the exposition of how our weapons work, which
yeah.
I get, and
Mm-hmm.
they're showing you how they become to the point where they can function the rest of the seasons. I get it, I understand
Yeah.
completely, but to me the pacing was like, okay, you're gonna speed me up just to slow me down to a dead halt.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem with it, especially with the first seasons, especially is yeah, the pacing is like a huge issue because there's parts like that with like the boot camp or there's definitely like there's straight up it's Giga described in his video. It's like it's just a fucking roller coaster. Like there's times where you're
Yeah,
fucking ramping up and then you go down like super fucking quick, and then once you hit that initial
but
fucking whatever descent or whatever in like the first 2 episodes, it like takes forever for you to climb back up to the
well,
top
no,
again.
my big issue with the first few episodes was like, okay, you're laying down some really great train tracks here for like some really intense shit, and then
Yeah.
episode 3 or 4, it's like the final part of the episode with like the fucking guitar riff and all the music is like, oh, he could stand up straight in the fucking like the little harness. Like, are we
Yeah.
fucking joking? That's like the epic
But
hurrah
his equipment
moment.
was broken because he was sabotaged.
I
Ah,
get that, but it was still like fucking stupid. Like
yeah,
that's the
no,
big hurrah moment because
that's
that's how nothing's
exactly.
going on,
Yeah.
which is fine because right after that's done, right after they graduate, it's nonstop. I
It's
think.
yeah, that rest of that season one, once they graduate, is like yeah, it goes pretty out the gate. There's a couple episodes there here and there that kind of slow the pacing a little bit for the most part. Yeah, I mean it fucking ramps up the whole fucking time.
And the animation in the first season is really really good.
Yeah.
But I did forget that I kept remembering the Titan, the female Titan fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking that was sooner than it actually was. So
Yeah,
the
it's like the
all
last like well the initial shit. The initial fight is like 16 or 17 episodes in or
well
something like that.
the whole part of like them the court after he turns Titan for the first time in that first big battle, Aaron,
Mhm.
and then he goes to the
After plugging
tribunal.
the hole.
He goes
Yeah.
to the court. No, not even that. The court part where he goes to court, and then they
Oh
have
yeah,
like
yeah.
Levi and him take him to the house. All that
Mhm.
part I didn't remember at all. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting here going, is this all filler? Like, is this filler shit? Like, are we get when does the female part come? I kept remembering that. Um,
Hmm.
I forgot who Irwin was.
Yeah.
I thought Irwin was Berthold. I thought they were the same guy. I was like, wait, who the
Yeah.
fuck is this dude? You know? And I
Yeah.
honestly don't even remember. I thought Levi wasn't even in the manga till like forever, but I guess he was. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he was there. I mean, I've never read the manga. I'm an anime only, but I mean, he's got to show up pretty fucking soon. I mean, he shows up.
He probably did. I just don't remember because it's so long ago now. It's 8 years ago, 9 years ago now.
Yeah.
So season one, what was the finale? The female Titan fight, or was that something
The
else?
finale was the female Titan fight between Eren and her, and then yeah, when she tries to climb the walls and Mikasa cuts her hands off.
Right. Okay. So how did you like the overall rest of the season with all the action? Was there anything that stood out to you in terms of story or what?
Um, I think overall, I think the biggest thing about it, especially with season one, was the animation was great.
Yeah.
I really liked all the stuff, especially once they actually all joined the Servant Corps.
Right.
Servant Corps. I really
Also, real
loved
quick, how badass was that moment?
which one?
Where they all join and like
Oh
everyone's
fuck, dude!
walking
After Irwin's
away,
speech,
Erwin's
oh my
speech,
god,
and then the fucking music's like fucking like
dude.
guitar riff starts playing, and
Yeah.
he turns around and the guy's like, I don't know who fucking says it to him. And he's like, hey man, you kind of went too much in there. You scared them, and he's like, oh
You went a
shit.
little bit. You went a little bit too hard
Yeah,
there, and then.
and he's like, oh
Well,
no.
I think he said that he was like, no, like I only want the people who are like fucking fully committed.
Well, I'm
Like
pretty
he
sure
fucking
I
knows.
thought it was like internal monologue where he's like, "Oh shit, did I mess up?" And then it shows
Remember
all the
that?
people like walking out, and then
Yeah.
he turns around.
You've got the fucking 20 or so recruits, and that's it. That's it. That's all you got.
But then even then, like I didn't understand from I guess maybe I read it too fast years ago, but like
Maybe.
okay, so everyone wants to be in the top 10
Right.
because you get to pick your job.
You want to be in the top 10 because only the people in the top 10 can join the military police.
Okay, so I thought maybe you could pick your job.
You
Okay.
can pick your job if you want to go to the garrison or the Servant Corps if you're below the top 10, but you
Right.
can only join the MP if you're a top 10.
Okay, so I was thinking like why, because Aaron was in the top 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why does he care?
I think he just wanted to be the best.
Okay, so I thought it was like you have to be in the top 10 to pick. So if you were in the top 10, you could pick to go to the MPs, whereas like other people, you go, you know what, you're gonna put you in the survey, and they tell you where to go. Okay,
Yeah.
because
No, I think Aaron just wanted to be top 10 because he wants to be the best fucking Titan
so
killer.
most of the crew wanted to go to the police, right?
um
Bald head kid wanted to go.
Baldhead Kid wanted to join the
Not
NP.
bald head kid wanted to go.
John wanted to join the NP, obviously. And then I think the only people who didn't were Armin and Mikasa, because Mikasa's just gonna follow Aaron wherever, and then Armin wanted to go outside the walls, so he
Right.
wanted to leave. I don't remember if Sasha wanted to join or not.
I don't think they ever say anything because they know their mission. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert. So I think that's why they just don't ever talk about it. Because I think, yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
So season 1 ends with the Titan fight. It was good Titan fight.
Good Titan fight, yeah. Fucking
All the
fantastic.
callbacks to like Aaron like learning how to fight and
Yeah.
stuff like that. What was
I think the best thing about season 1, just of the last part, is that I don't know how much it does this in the manga, but the anime, I assume it's got to be pretty close. But the setup and the payoff, especially the setup in season 1 for the mystery box
Yeah.
of the fucking basement, is fan-fucking-tastic. I mean, it's probably the best fucking mystery in an anime that I've seen in like a really fucking long fucking time, where it's just the whole time I'd even forgot it. That was the big thing where it's just like, I mean, you know the basement a little bit, but it was just like, because I even remember when I was first watching season 1, it got to the end of the season, and I was like, I didn't even remember the basement until I
Right,
was
yeah,
watching
yeah.
something else, and I was like, oh yeah, what the fuck happened with the basement?
I didn't even remember the basement thing because even when I was read the manga or parts of the manga, I remember like years later being on like YouTube or like Tumblr before they had the basement reveal, and people in the comments were like, "What's in the fucking basement?" I'm like, "What? Wait, what?
Basement?
Basement? What are you talking about? There's the fucking Titans, dude.
Yeah.
Why the fuck we care about a basement? The basement would be broken. Who cares? It's not gonna save
Little
you."
do you know that the basement fucking shatters the entire
Yeah.
world.
What did you feel? How do you remember how you reacted when you saw that there was other Titan shifters? Did you expect that or no?
I did not expect it. I did. I remember I didn't watch it in the anime. Or I mean, yeah, I did because I watched the female Titan ship. But I was just, I didn't expect it at all. I really thought, I thought it was gonna be the fucking regular anime thing where it was like, Aaron was like the fucking 1 in a million kid who
Right.
can like somehow transform into a Titan. You know, like, no, like there's fucking people, a bunch of people who can transform into Titans.
So I'll tell you this, dude. I remember this reaction for myself, like, because I didn't read a ton of the manga when it came out, but I remember me thinking this when Aaron saves Armin and then gets killed, dies or
Yeah.
whatever. I was like, this guy's trying to pull some berserk shit.
Dude, I
this
remember-
dude
I
is trying
remember
to
that
pull
for
some
sure.
bullshit.
Well, I remember that for sure when I watched it the first time, like actually like going through and watching it. I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? You can't fucking
Yeah.
kill off the fucking main character. Like, what the fuck
I remember
is this?
remember being mad. I remember being like thinking to myself, This
I remember
asshole.
I remember it being agonizing because it. I mean, now you can fucking binge through it, but like when it was coming out, it takes like 2 or 3 episodes for them to reveal like, oh yeah, Aaron's not fucking dead. I'm like, what
Well,
the fuck?
I remember my reaction being like 8 years ago or whatever the fuck, being like, dude, are you telling me this whole fucking time this fucking pussy blonde hair kid's been the main character and they tried to do a switcheroo? I was like,
Yeah,
no, I didn't even think of the idea that this guy could fucking henshin into a Titan. Didn't even think
yeah.
about it.
I didn't
So
even think of that as a possibility ever.
when they showed him turning into the Titan, and
Hmm.
then I didn't even think about, oh, other people. Why wouldn't other people have the ability to do this? I didn't even think
Yeah,
about that. Um, so like having that fight thing there, and then having it be someone that like they trained with, I was like, oh no.
yeah,
I remember like when they said, oh no, that's Sasha or whatever. I was like, dude, there's gonna be more fucking rats. There's gonna
yeah.
be more fucking rats. I know for a fact. So when it revealed later that there's
Hmm.
like two fucking rats.
3, because you got fucking Annie, who was the female Titan,
Oh
and
yeah,
you got
Annie, not
fucking
Sasha.
Reiner.
Sorry, that's
Yeah,
Sasha. Annie. Yeah, sorry.
yeah. So then you got Reiner and fucking Berthold.
Yeah,
Fucking Berthold.
I should have fucking known these fucking blonde motherfuckers. Except for obviously Armin's
It's
blonde,
weird.
but
Well, I mean, you've got it's on. I honestly don't know why. It goes to show like how incredibly quick the pacing is. Because honestly, if you like even look at like the Armor Titan and Reiner, you'd be like, oh yeah, they look similar.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But
Right.
I mean, honestly, Berthold looks nothing like a fucking colossal titan. But I mean, you've got other than the fact that he's fucking lanky as shit. But I mean, but Reiner and Armor Titan be like, oh yeah, I could totally see how they're like the
Well,
same
to me,
fucking
I
person.
think the Armor Titan looks more like Jean, kind of,
Yeah, kind
because the
of.
hair color.
Yeah, but Jean's got the like the fucking two-tone shit going on because he's got the like weird. He's got that like shaved
Shaved, yeah.
under shit. Yeah, and so, but yeah,
So
I
season
couldn't believe
two
it.
to me was pretty boring.
Season 2, I remember it started out boring, and then you get the Reiner Berthold reveal, and that
Yeah,
it picks up a little bit. But yeah, I definitely remember because the first 2 episodes is like introducing the Beast Titan, and then after that is like the Ymir shit in the castle and whatnot, and
yeah,
that's all kind of boring until you figure out Ymir's a Titan. That was a pretty cool scene.
yeah. All the Titan shit, all the
Yeah,
castle stuff. Like when she reads the can, which I didn't
yeah.
get. I still don't get that scene.
I still don't get that. I mean, I guess it's Reiner's. I guess is lying because obviously they're both from the same place. So there's
Yeah.
no reason that Reiner couldn't fucking read it either.
So I can't tell if he was trying to like put up
I think
the
he was just trying
front.
to catch her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so that whole season two, to me as a whole, was pretty much like step down. The only thing that made
Yeah.
season two worth it for me was um, the Bert Holt telling Aaron like hey, by the way, just casually, hey, by the way, I'm
Oh yeah, yeah. When he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm the Armor Titan. He's the
yeah,
Colossal Titan. You gotta come with us. Okay, let's
let's
go.
go. Yeah, that's to me the only.
I love the reveal of that too because it's just so you would think it would be like this most dramatic moment, and it's
Yeah,
honestly just told in like a side
it's not on
conversation.
camera. It's not even on camera.
Yeah, it's not even. It's like video game shit where it's like it's off to the side. Like it's
Yeah,
not even like the camera's like not even pointed at them. Like you're hearing
right.
like Mikasa or somebody else talk, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, well, like we're
Well,
the
I
fucking
think
armor
it's the
peoples."
what's her name?
Hanji,
Yeah, hands
the
or whatever the
goggle
fuck. Yeah, like
goggles
they're
girl. Yeah.
walking and then the talking's on the side. But that's right after what fight is that after?
That's after what was that?
The first beast fight.
I don't remember. I think it was them. I think it was after the Beast Titan like sent those Titans after them, and then he like
Right.
climbs over the wall or some shit like that. Maybe I don't remember.
What was your reaction to that? Them being the rats, and also what's your reaction to the beast titan?
I feel like I got spoiled because I knew for a little bit that Reiner and Berthold. I'd forgotten a little bit, but as I started watching it, I was like, oh yeah, like these are the guys that are like the armored in the. But I remember when I first heard it, I was like, the fuck? Like who the fuck are these people that are the fucking armored in the Beast Titan? But I think they do a great job. I think the thing that I like about season 2 is that I think it gives a lot more characterization to some of the characters that really were just
Oh
treated
yeah.
as side characters. I mean, you get a lot more with Connie and Sasha. You learn a lot more about not as much Connie,
Yeah.
But definitely like Sasha's background of like her being like a hunter and her dad like
Hmm.
sending her off to like doing the whole if they won't help us, then when we need help, nobody will be there to help us. And then I like that aspect. And you get
Yeah.
more with Jean. And then they do a lot, not so much for Berthold, but they do a lot for Reiner of like
Yeah.
expanding upon his character. And like, I like the reveal of him basically having like split personalities almost, where
Yeah.
he's to like cope with the fact that like he literally is like betraying everybody that he's grown close
Hmm.
to.
Hmm.
He like splits off like two parts of his brain.
Well, speaking
Um,
about that real fast, how do you feel
yeah.
about that whole reveal storyline about him becoming his friend?
What do you mean?
Like the whole idea that like his friend gets killed when they're infiltrating,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
so he
And
like
then
he like steps up to become that kind of guy.
yeah, he becomes like the leader of the group. Yeah,
You know, like how
almost.
do you feel about that being kind of like the PTSD?
Yeah, I don't mind that a lot. I think I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that they did for Reiner's characterization in general.
Because
I think they did a really solid job of like using the PTSD and like
I think that
showing
it's
that.
the one anime that I've seen, probably maybe except for Full Metal, but they don't really touch on this stuff though. Where like, to me, it accurately would express how double agents would work.
Yeah,
Like because like the
and
two
how fucking tough it is to
like
be a
Bert
double
Holt,
agent.
Annie, and
Reiner.
Reiner, clear like you understand now why Annie is the way she is.
Yeah,
Like she's quiet, she's reserved, she's far away,
she doesn't talk to
doesn't
anybody
talk to
because
anybody,
she doesn't want to have
you
any of
know.
those kind of
And
relationships.
then they show like the cracking of the other two guys, and it
Yeah,
also shows why Ymir is like that. Obviously, when they explain her whole bit about being a pure titan, so
yeah,
like it shows you that they don't want to be there, and what they thought the job was gonna be was clashing with what they ended up finding out. Especially with Reiner obviously
yeah,
being like, oh, these people are gonna be the spoiler alert, the people beyond the wall are going to be trashy people and terrible.
yeah,
Oh, well, I actually had memories and like fun with them, and
yeah.
then now it becomes the psyche like breaking. And to me, that was such a great like some of the best anime writing. Not even that,
Mhm.
just some of the best character writing I've seen
Yeah.
in a long time. Because like even beyond Aaron as a character is the most surface character except for
He's
Mikasa.
he's pretty surface. I think he does. I think they do a lot for him in season three. Um, but I think yeah, season one and two, he's very surface, revenge-driven character. There's really not much to him, and the majority of the time, he's really not there because he gets kidnapped like every fucking season. And
Exactly.
so it's like there's like a good solid like 5 or 6 episodes or whatever where he's just like not even there. So
Because to me, the most complex characters aren't even the main character. To me, the main character is very not
yeah,
complex. Like
yeah.
it's
I would say
pretty
season three
black and
makes him a
white.
little bit more complex. Just in exploring the relationship of like him and his father, and like exploring like what his father did to him, and like how that's like affecting his psyche. And I think the ending of season three does a lot for expanding upon his character, and I think like where his mindset's at, where it's not very. I don't know. I think he's grown a lot more for being the one-dimensional. Like I'm gonna kill all the Titans. I think he's got.
Two, I'm gonna kill everybody.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Because to me, like the progression of the character, I know we're skipping to Aaron. I know the
Yeah.
progression of the character from kid to season three finale,
Hmm.
um, is perfectly logical. Like I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine with that whole progression. To me, that makes complete sense. From
Yeah.
angry to now, I have a anger where I can target it past just Titans. Now I have a whole
Yeah.
nation of
Hmm.
people to be angry at. So the logic to me makes sense.
Mm.
Um, but to me, that's still pretty bland. Not in a bad way. That character's fine because he's surrounded by really complex characters.
Yeah, I
Like
think that's a good part
like
of it. Yeah.
you know, whereas
I
obviously
think
Aaron becomes more complex with the whole memory thing.
yeah.
That makes him a more intrinsically a more complex character. But you
Hmm.
have around him the double agents are infinitely more complex.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think a lot of the characters, not even like the double agents, but I think, I mean, Armin is a much more compelling character to me than, and I mean, Mikasa's one note, so she's like almost the
yeah,
same. She's like even more one note than Aaron, where it's just like I don't. She's a completely boring character to me, but
yeah,
I mean,
she
you've
is.
got fucking Levi, you've got fucking Erwin that are surrounding him, you've got Armin and like everything that like he's going through, and yeah.
Like you
So
have
much good stuff.
so like to me, Mikasa is one of the most poorly written characters I've seen in a long time.
Oh my god, it's so
Because
boring.
she is like Deus Ex for everything, right? Like Deus Ex kind of character.
They
Like,
kind of try to explain it a little bit in season 3 with like the Ackerman thing, where it's like part of their. I guess they try to explain it as like part of like their genetics or something like that. That they are all like, because it's not just her, because it's like Levi is also from the same family as her, and like
right.
he's a fucking beast.
But the problem with that is this: is that Levi was trained to be like by a killer.
Yeah,
So, but Mikasa was never trained past the boot camp.
yeah, yeah. No,
So
she's just inherently good
She's
at
just good
everything.
at everything. So to
Yeah.
me, like, okay, well, back in the first season, right, when they're having all the rookies go to certain squads, they send her to the expert squad.
Hmm.
Well, why? I
Yeah.
get that she's good. I understand that, but like, okay, well, genetically, well, you tell me that like Levi was that good just from the get go? Like, no, he was trained
Yeah.
by a fucking guy who was a killer, so it
Yeah.
made sense as to why he became as good. We have progression, you
Yeah.
know, like if we give is Aaron gonna be a good doctor because his dad was a doctor and then
Yeah.
his grandpa was a doctor?
Yeah.
Like, no, probably
No.
not. So I think to me, she is such a one note, boring,
Yeah.
Deus Ex, MacGuffin kind of bullshit. Added any
Oh,
story,
yeah. She's like the most MacGuffin character in the whole
add
series.
in any story element. Like, oh no, we have to fight this Titan. How are we gonna win? Mikasa,
Mikasa.
Mikasa,
Mikasa or Levi.
or Levi.
Either one.
But again, Levi makes sense to me.
Yeah.
One, he's been doing it longer.
Yeah.
Two, he was trained by a killer.
Hmm.
So his life was infinitely worse than Mikasa's life.
Yeah.
Mom was like a prostitute, something like that, and like
His mom was a prostitute, and like when Kenny found him, he was like a husk of a person that was like
malnourished, evil.
he has his cheeks were like completely sunken into
Right.
like his jaws. Yeah.
Not saying Mikasa's storyline doesn't suck, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
for him to be the expert Titan
It
killer,
makes sense.
it makes
Yeah.
more sense to me.
Yeah.
So season
Also,
two,
his fucking all his shit in season 3. Oh fucking god.
what's season 2 finale?
Season 2 finale. What was season 2 finale? Shit. What the fuck was that?
Was that a fight between the Colossal and the Armored and
I
Aaron?
don't remember it being a fight. Season 2 finale was it was the end of them trying to get Aaron back, and then he uses the scream to control the Titans.
Right.
That was
right.
that was the finale, and then they all go back to the fucking city.
Right. Okay. So how'd you feel overall though, season 2? What, not as good?
It's not as good as season 1. I think it's weird because I think season 2's got great stuff in it, but I think overall it's not as compelling as the first season,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think season 3 does a lot better job of doing what season 2 does, because
Sure.
season 2, for me, I think its strong point is developing the characters, especially characters that like we haven't really been following all that much.
Right.
But I think season 3 does an even better job of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it still gives you action.
Yeah, it gives you both. Yeah.
And it could be because season 2 is having to set up exposition-y stuff.
Yeah, I think season 2. I think it's weird because you wouldn't think that for a second season, but yeah, I think there's a lot of setup that's happening in season 2.
Yeah.
Because it's the introduction of the Beast Titan. You kind of introduce the fact that there are like other armies outside of the wall. That it's not just Titans. There's like an actual like force out there. You've got the beginning of like different Titan powers that aren't just like transforming into a Titan. There's like weird other stuff going on that lets you like control Titans, and you've got beginning of like setting up for like trying to go back to the basement and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think there's a lot of setup that's happening in season 2 that
and
kind of drags it down.
To me, the biggest thing of season 2 was introduction of the Beast Titan.
Yeah.
And I remember like seeing that and being like, "Oh, this guy can talk."
Yeah.
Clearly, this guy. Well, first off, he looks different, so he's a shifter. I know that automatically now.
Yeah.
But being like, "Oh, he can talk," I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's
Yeah.
gonna be a fucking problem."
It's
And
gonna
then
be
like
a huge fucking
and he's like
problem.
controlling the Titans. And I'm like, "Oh fuck, this guy's gonna be
He
a
can
problem."
make Titans out of regular people, which is like
Yeah.
fucking terrifying.
And then he like kills that one guy in the most horrific way.
Oh my god, he like takes off his 3D gear and then just
Yeah,
leaves him there.
and
Like,
he
oh my
tells
god.
them to stop, and then it's like, yeah, you can go ahead now. It's like
Yeah.
fucking brutal, bro.
Jesus.
Season 3, best
Season
season,
3.
best season of the three.
Best season by far. And it's split up into two parts, and it's split up in a really good way. Because honestly, first part of season 3 is much more political than like any of the other stuff. You've got a
Yeah,
lot of stuff with like, I mean, it's not even really about Titans in part 1, because it's really just about like, you've got the whole like class structure of like the royal family. You've got the anti-personnel stuff with like Kenny and all that stuff, and then you've got
Historia.
kind of Historia and like all the shit that's going on with her, and then you've got the setup to just like the coup d'etat, all the stuff with like Erwin,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's just
Oh,
like
also, when does Erwin lose his arm? Season 2 or
that's
3?
season 2. Yeah,
So Erwin loses his arm. Commander
yeah,
loses his arm.
yeah,
Um, so the commander loses his arm. They end up putting the girl in charge at some point.
yeah. You got
Hands.
Goggles Girl. Yeah,
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 goggles girl.
yeah.
So
Because he gets arrested, and then they're like, she's basically becomes like the pseudo head of the scouts.
yeah,
You've got a lot of stuff too. Oh, I forgot about this shit. Well, you've got them as rebels, first of all, because they're
yeah.
basically enemies of the state, which is great. And then you've got Hanji back in the city, and she basically like starts an uprising with the merchant, because his dad gets killed by Kenny, and so then you've got him like taking over this company and like basically being like the merchant leader for the people, and like having them like rise up and like fight against the corruption of the military police, which is great. So yeah.
Well, season 3, the first part, it's again the third rescue Aaron arc.
Oh my god, this is like the longest one yet, because he gets kidnapped in like season 2, and then you don't even, I don't think anything even happens until like, I feel like the 8th or 9th episode is when he finally
And like the fucking
unchained.
the retrieval arc, the retrieval part of it's such an easy retrieval. They were gonna fire some smoke bombs and just like outmaneuver everybody, but we couldn't do that in the city for some reason. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Um, that led us to this conversation we had in text. Was like, I think that Kenny's whole squad is really like the worst. Their hooks are so stupid to me.
I think they're so cool though.
Okay,
I like
so
the gun. I
in
like the gun.
theory, they're cool, but again, here's my point. Here's my point.
I think the
can do
problem
in
with
person.
it, I get where you're coming from, because I think the problem with it is that yes, the hooks are attached to their guns.
So if I'm swinging like Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And I have to use one of my weapons, which is
Yeah.
the hook, to maintain connection. So now I only have one weapon. I can't reload it because they only have what, 2 shots.
They have one shot, but it's like a single barrel, so they've got barrels on their side, so you have to get a whole new barrel.
Yeah. So now I have one shot
Yeah.
while I'm swinging. Now if I have 2 enemies, whereas the regular dimensional gear, it's from the waist.
Yeah.
So I can control it with the handle things, and I can still like do all this shit.
Well, I hope you don't hate it too much, because I watched the season 4 trailer, and I'm pretty sure that shit's coming back.
Well, I have read past season 3, and like I told you,
Oh, right. That's
so
right.
I could answer your question, and it's not really.
Okay. It kind of looked like Mikasa was wearing something similar to it.
It is similar, but
Okay.
it's still traditional gear.
Okay.
From what I understand, they have guns.
Okay. So they do have guns. Well, I
Yep.
mean, it makes sense. They're fighting against like actual humans. So.
Well, they I can spoil it for you if you want, but
No, I'll wait.
okay, I won't spoil it.
I'll wait.
But it's a gun.
Okay.
Season 3 though, the whole first part was such a slog to me. The save Aaron again arc was such a slog.
Yeah,
But everything past that was like,
Well, the second part of that last like 10 episodes is like, fuck, dude.
yeah,
God damn it.
right. And then that fight scene.
Which
The
one?
last fight, the fight in the wall.
Oh
when
yeah,
they get
yeah.
back, when they were going back in, and Bert Holt and Reiner are waiting.
Mm-hmm.
God. That fight was so good.
Oh, God, dude. Fucking Aaron with his fucking knuckle dusters.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking taking out the armored titan.
Finally,
Oh, God.
finally, the first time you see him like fucking do something.
Not just fucking lose.
Not just lose. Like, I know, like later on, like earlier in the show, like
He's taking on regular titans, he can beat them up, but like they're fucking like mindless zombies, basically.
Right.
Like it's not that hard.
how so that fight though, again, everyone's more of a badass than Aaron is. which is annoying as fuck.
Yeah.
Because you're the main character.
He did have that shit where he took down the armor titan with the fucking judo locks and shit, which was pretty dope.
That was cool. I hit the headlock and that stuff was cool and everything. That happened in season 2, right?
Yeah, that was like season 2. Yeah.
The part where all of the other rocket things, the rocket spears or whatever.
Dude, those rocket spears were fucking dope.
Like, everyone else was doing such a better job at killing them than fucking Aaron was. I mean, Aaron was doing good, obviously. But, like, he does good, then he, like, loses steam. And I can't remember what character it was, but someone says, like, I think it was the old guy who saved Aaron's life when they were kids. I think it's him who says it, but they say, like, I've never seen him win a fight. Yeah. I've never seen him lose a fight.
But I've never seen him win a fight, but I've never seen him give up. And I was
he just gets up.
I guess that's a character trait.
Is that a win? I don't know. We have Deus Ex Mikasa out here just doing everything.
Yeah, fucking send a rocket down Reiner's fucking gullet.
I did not like the Armin being like, yeah, they're hiding here somewhere, and then everyone just like.
You didn't like that?
I thought. I mean, it made sense to me, but like.
Oh, you didn't like the tap shit?
Like, dude, if I'm the bad guy, I'm not gonna just wait.
That was the most confusing part, where they were like doing that, and then Reiner fucking waited until somebody was like literally right in front of him.
And he fucking murders that guy.
Why are you fucking waiting? Like, of course they're gonna figure you out. They're like tapping.
Just murders that guy like crazy.
Yeah, dude. And then part 2 is you got the introduction of that new Titan that has like the fucking duck nose shit that like is like
the cart Titan.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Beast Titan throwing the rocks and killing every fucking scout?
God damn it, dude. That shit was fucking rough, dude. He's like, and then it was like, that was another shit where they like it was a weird call through where it was like, he said something that if the reveal of the basement didn't make any fucking sense. Because he basically like used like baseball terms. And I was like, how the fuck do you know what baseball is?
Can I give you one quick spoiler from the manga?
Yeah.
It's not really a spoiler, I just reference to this. So that's obviously context clues for somewhere else, right? He keeps saying pitching and I changed the pitch, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So in the manga,
he said I want to pitch a perfect game.
Right. So they keep giving context clues for other stuff, which you're like, okay, all right, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah.
But then in season 4, I guess there's a time skip. Spoiler alert.
There's a scene. A time skip in the manga too?
I think so. Okay. Yeah, it's 4 years.
Okay.
There's a scene where Aaron, I'm not gonna tell you where he's at or anything like that. I'm saying Aaron is sitting there and he's tossing a baseball in the air and like catching it.
Damn. All right.
So it's like it's telling you like, baseball exists in this world, which is why
baseball is a thing. Yeah.
Which is why that character's talking like that. I love just Levi just destroying.
Oh my god, that fucking fight scene!
Just destroying him.
He did the shit that I love, which is he does that fucking weird blade roll where he like rolls up somebody's arm that always looks like the sickest fucking shit.
Which makes zero logical sense.
Makes no sense.
Like, I mean, obviously
he becomes like Sonic the Hedgehog and like fucking rolls up somebody's arm and shit. And he's got that shit where he basically like JoJo's the fucking back of his neck with this fucking blades. Which was the dopest fucking shit.
Pulls him out.
He like cuts his arms and legs off and like pulls him out.
They don't explain who that is in this season, do they?
I mean, I don't think they necessarily explain it, but I assume that my guess is that it's fucking Jaeger's. It's like Aaron's brother. Like it's fucking Jaeger's other kid.
Yeah, it is. It's his other. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know what was in the manga or not. Yeah,
they kind of didn't talk about it. I mean, they made reference to the fact that like that character knows who Aaron's dad is, but they didn't explicitly say it. But I was like,
also
looking at the flashbacks of him as a kid, I was like, oh, that's totally
the
his
same
brother.
guy. Yeah, same guy. Yeah, exactly. I like that fight. That whole fight scene was like really like dire struggle. Like they really did that so well. Like
they killed all the scouts are dead except for like fucking 9 of them. The people who weren't outside the walls.
How did you feel?
And the one fucking annoying redhead kid who I was like, shut the fuck up.
How did you feel about Erwin's death, and how do you feel about what they chose to do with the stuff?
I get why they wanted Erwin to die, and in the context of the story, I think Levi made the right choice, obviously, because honestly, not even thinking of the fact of like, Erwin has been through enough shit and like he deserves to like rest in peace. But just to the fact of like thinking of the future, like Erwin's old, Armin's young, Armin can be around for a lot longer. And honestly, Armin, as far as like looking at the series as a whole, a lot of times when they're coming up with strands or strategies or like trying to like figure out a situation to like get out of what they're doing, Armin's the one that comes up with the plan. So I
Right.
mean, logistically, it just makes more sense. Like I get he doesn't have like the charisma of Erwin,
Right.
but honestly, I don't think. I mean, I assume they'll get into this in season 4, but I honestly think that like Aaron will probably become that person that has that charisma for the scouts. Because I mean, they already kind of hinted back to it in like boot camp, where it was like, I mean, his speech is like the one that fucking made everybody want to join the Survey Corps at first. So,
What do you think about? How'd you feel about the about him becoming colossal?
I think it's fine. It makes sense to me. I mean, it's cool that like they have the colossal titan now.
Also,
But
hold on, real quick. Sorry,
Mm.
we completely glossed over how they shifters get the pass on the ability.
yeah, so it's also I don't know. So I mean, the way that works is you get injected, you become a titan, then you have to eat somebody else who has a titan power. So there are
Right.
only a certain amount, which I like is smart. There's only a certain amount of intelligent titan powers,
Nah,
but
there's 9 of
they
them.
only had one. Yeah, there's 9 of them, but they only had. I mean, the scouts and whatever the walled people only had the one serum. So it's like, unless they steal some from whatever Marley, I think is
Marley, yeah,
the nation. So unless they steal more from them, like they can't steal any more Titan powers. So
yeah,
they've got the Fountain Titan and they've got the Colossal Titan, which is dope. But
and the
like
attack titan.
out, and the Attack Titan, sorry, is yeah they have the Attack Titan and they have the Colossal Titan, and then but outside of the context of like destroying walls, I don't know how useful Colossal Titan could actually be. I'm sure they'll have something that they could do to like they'll have some way he can use his power or something like that. But outside of really because he's such a lumbering thing that like outside of like destroying structures, it's hard to see like a real use for the Colossal Titan.
I love the idea and such a unique concept
Mm.
of to get this power, you
Yeah.
have to eat the person
Yeah.
who has that power.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just eat them like fucking cannibalism. You have to like be in the
Mm-hmm.
Titan form, and they show how it makes
And
sense.
I think they still have to be alive. Like you can't just eat them when they're dead. Like you have to eat them
well,
alive.
if they die and doesn't pass on,
Right.
it
If
goes
they
on
die,
to some other person's kin.
just some random baby.
Some
Yeah.
random Eldian gets the
Yeah.
power,
Mm-hmm.
which it makes sense because, like how do some people inherit it? You know, so it makes
Yeah.
sense that it just goes away and picks someone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a unique concept of like, it's not only this power is not free. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to make a sacrifice, and then the idea of the
Time
time
limit.
limit
Yeah.
makes it even like no one lasts forever. This does not
Yeah.
happen for free. So
Yeah.
there is a limit to this, and there's a payment you have to pay, which I think is super unique to like a manga for sure.
Yeah.
Again, like I keep mentioning Berserk, but the Berserk armor has like a downside. Like it's like
It takes away his lifespan, right?
yeah, like soul. Like you can't like it's like
Yeah.
Guts can't just keep using it. You know, he's going to continually go crazy and continually be angry or whatever, and hurt
Yeah.
him because it's constantly hurting him.
Right.
From what I understand, I'm not up to date.
I'm not up to date, but yeah, I assume that I think it has like it's like pain armor where it like
Yeah.
spikes on the inside that like constantly hurt him.
So like that, like to me, like okay, he can get super strong to combat his enemies, but
Yeah.
it's going to cost you something. You know,
Yeah.
like in Wheel of Time, which is a book series, the men in this world can use magic, but the magic costs them their sanity.
Okay.
So as they continue to use magic, they will continually to go insane.
Okay.
So there's an order of female magicians, sorcerers that
So females don't go insane.
they don't have this problem. You know,
Alright.
so it's like I think it's less potent, like less strong, but they don't go insane.
Oh, so their
Whereas
magic.
whereas the
That makes
men go insane, but I think it's stronger. I believe.
That makes sense.
So like, or like even like in another fantasy series I mentioned before, Lightbringer from Brent Weeks, where like you can bend light magic and control
Yeah.
it, but the more you there's a finite limit for each person's life.
Right.
So if you just keep pouring it out, you eventually will go insane.
Mm-hmm.
I like that there's a rule set. You know,
Yeah.
in Attack on Titan, you have 13 years. That's your limit. You
I,
know,
I like the defined rule set for sure.
it's
Yeah.
13 years, and you have to get the power by eating someone else alive. I like
Yeah.
that rule set. So,
Mm-hmm.
but then when watching Armin turn to the Titan,
Mm-hmm.
and then watching him eat fucking Berthold,
Berthold.
I
Yeah.
was like, "Fuck you, dude." Yeah, go ahead. He's like crying, like, "Oh, help me!" I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you, dude."
Yeah, I thought that for sure. I was like, "Fuck you, man!" Like
Get
you
it?
literally killed like all these people. Like fuck off.
It's like, yeah, go ahead. I love it. Fucking
Yeah.
loved it. That was so good.
Yeah.
And then Irwin dying, it makes sense. And there's good reasoning. You know, he's like he wanted to die. He said thank you, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Finale of the season
Finale.
was where they finally, a year later,
A year later, they finally travel beyond.
they kill all the Titans.
Well, yeah, they talk about the fact that there really wasn't that many Titans left.
They killed all of them.
Yeah, they killed most. The ones that were left were kind of at where the wall kind of broke out, I think. And then after that, they really hadn't encountered many. And then they finally go to the sea.
They go to the sea. But before that, real quick though, before that last scene,
Yeah.
how did you react to the reveal of what the Titans were?
Fuck, dude. I had. It's so weird. It's so heartbreaking, honestly. Just seeing this story, and it's like, obviously, clear reference to like, especially with like the armbands and shit. Clear reference to like Jews and like the plight of Jews and like in like Europe and like the struggles that they've gone through. Obviously, Jews don't turn into fucking titans,
Right.
but symbolism is definitely there. I mean, especially with like the armbands and type of shit like that, and like you have the whole thing of like the kingdom like going down upon this culture and basically saying that like you're the reason for all of the evil in the world and the way that they mistreat them. Oh my god, the way his fucking sister died and like.
Yeah. To me, what was so interesting was that first off, I didn't ever expect that to be a thing.
I didn't expect them to. I didn't expect every single Titan to be just like random people.
Right. Well, not random people.
Well,
Other
yeah,
Eldians.
Eldians.
So
Right.
now it becomes are we only treating these people and keeping them in ghettos?
Yeah.
We're gonna torture them, and by instead of killing them, we're gonna make them roam around this island for years to go eat their own people.
Yeah.
So it's like a self-service destruction of
Super fucked up.
of whatever, of genocide, right? Like it's going to
Yeah.
be either the Titan, and they don't know that the fucking Eldians on the island have the ability to kill or know how to kill Titans. So, and
Yeah.
I remember like when they reveal it, it makes so much sense to me as like, oh, that makes sense as to why they killed them at the base of the neck,
Yeah.
because that's where the fucking human body is
Yeah.
still positioned when they transform. It makes complete.
Mhm.
I was like, it's a pretty random place to choose when they first mentioned it in the first season, but now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I gotcha. They get injected
It all
there,
makes sense.
so
Yeah.
it all makes sense. But it's like such brutal, like such a brutal. It makes you like. It makes you go, you know what? When Aaron starts thinking about like what Grisha did to get the founding Titans powers and all the massacre and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and why he would inject his own son with the serum, you're like,
Yeah.
dude, why the fuck would you do that? And I remember after seeing all the flashbacks with like the owl and all that kind of stuff, and being like, dude, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
fuck
Makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
dude, yes. And I want to be like,
And then you've got all the stuff with like the king and like the fact that like the royal family, like this shit where it was like you can't use the Titan power correctly unless you're a member of the royal family. But if you're a member of the royal family, you're like
can't go to
somehow
war.
you're on like a fucking like blood oath or some shit
Yeah.
that you can't like fight back, which
You
is
can't
like
go to
fucking
war.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but then like you have like, Aaron's brother
Yeah.
is part royal,
Part royal.
which is why he can make the Titans and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I want you to read.
That's gonna be how they're doing. Because I was wondering, I didn't even think about that. Because I thought about the fact that he's his brother, but then they talk about the end of the season where they talk about how he can use the scream, and it's basically he can't use it because he's not royal.
Yep.
But well, no, he's not royal.
He's not royal at all.
Because his mom wasn't a royal. But they were talking about what they were gonna like make Historia Titan, and then like somehow I guess like him punching her or something, or would have to eat it. I don't understand exactly where he was coming from like that, but yeah, I guess he could like eat his brother, and then he could take over the power using that. I guess maybe I don't know,
I can't remember that
or
part.
just like him punching his brother with like I don't know somehow because of the whole because he was able to like kill his stepmom.
Yeah, I guess it would be not
I
married, but
guess.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not married.
Or
Uh,
so it'd be whatever his half brother's mom.
yeah, his half mom, I
You
guess,
know,
or
and like the
something.
idea of, and I really want you to just not even read a lot of it, but just read the first like little bit past chapter 90 where they go to
Okay.
the time skip. I want you just to read like the first like 10 or 15 chapters,
Okay.
because it's after the time skip,
Yeah.
and it's immediately noticeable. It's I remember, and I'm not trying to spoil too much for you, but
Mm-hmm.
like season 3 ends with they're at the ocean,
Right.
and they're all happy and like fucking like classic anime scene, which is the first time
Yeah.
they ever really do a
Yeah, it's the first
classic
time they ever
beach
do like
scene.
a classic beach scene, and it's all just
Um,
them like fucking sticking their feet in
right,
the ocean for the first time
and
ever in their
then
entire lives.
Armin finds the seashell for the first time after reading about it or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then he drops it because Aaron's like he's broken.
We have to kill all of them.
He's broken.
Yeah.
Um, so I want you to just read the first couple chapters or whatever of past the time skip,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you'll read it and be like, what the fuck am I? Not in a bad way. You'll be like this. Here's my reaction. I finished the anime. Here's season 3. Loaded
Mm-hmm.
up the next chapter and was like, wait, what the fuck? Whole different world.
Okay.
Whole different world.
Interesting.
And then I get to Aaron and I'm like, he becomes the Punisher. He's like,
Oh, okay.
it's the fucking Punisher, dude. And
All right.
you're like, okay, yep. And I'm not gonna try not to spoil anything more, but like they keep trying to like be like, is he okay? Is he
Yeah.
crazy? And
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, he's fucking fine. Let him keep doing his thing.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up real fast,
Mm-hmm.
Attack on Titan season 1 to 3. Final thoughts, Zach.
Fucking fantastic. Honestly, I would not be surprised as long as season 4 is not like atrocious, which I doubt it will be. Um, I can honestly see this being like the modern classic of anime, like up there with like fucking Full Metal Brotherhood and like Code
Mm-hmm.
Geass and like fucking One Piece and like all those classic animes. I could see it being right up there. It's just so fucking solid.
I think when it's all said and done, with the final season being only 4 seasons,
Yeah, four
being like
seasons is
what
crazy.
60 episodes or something like that.
It depends how long season
65
4 is going
episodes,
to
70
be.
episodes.
I can't see it being longer. Even if they give it like 20, it wouldn't be longer than like 80, 85, which
So
is
like
still like
so
super.
84 seasons, four and done,
Yeah,
with some of the best writing I've read in a long time.
yeah.
Characterizations, storyline, like things that are mentioned in one are
Hmm.
resolved in season 3 or 4.
Yeah,
So many like things that are tied together. I think this thing becomes like it has to be better than Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like in terms of
probably.
anime, it has to be better in terms of. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
as happy-go-lucky, obviously,
It's not. No,
but
it's a much more serious and somber
in
series
the
for sure.
idea in the realm of like just dramatic storytelling, it's like it's
Yeah.
insanely. It's probably the best anime I've seen. It's some of the best storytelling I've seen in a long time.
Oh
Just
yeah.
straight up, it's just some of the
Yeah.
best, And whoever the mangaka is, I don't know his name or her name. It's just
Hmm.
fucking like prime time. Like they really fucking set in, and you know what? We have an idea from chapter 1. It's going to pay off, and it's going to blow your mind
Hmm.
at this goddamn basement.
Like I mean, it's one of the clearest things of this manga author. He had a vision, and he clearly came in, and he's like, I have a specific story that I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
tell. I know exactly where it's going to go, and this is
Yeah,
how I'm going to get there.
exactly. That's exactly what I think too. There are too many good through lines,
Hmm.
you know. Especially like you mentioned before, like how they're going to make more tie-ins. Well, that's all in the next part. That's literally like explained
Hmm.
in the very next chapter. Like
Okay.
all that stuff. Um,
Damn.
and I'm like, I mean, like if you're like, you said you wanted to wait, and I wanted to wait too, but I read the first like 15 just to get a better closure, and I got to a good point where I was like, you know what, now I can wait. So I wanted to see immediately what happened, and then from now on I can wait till the anime comes out. So
Okay.
I also agree it's an amazing show. I'll give 5 out of 5. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
5
really,
out of 5.
really awesome.
100%.
So I'm excited to watch the next season whenever that comes out. So
Yeah, I think it's October. So yeah.
well, Zach, anything else before we end the pod this week?
No, that's it. That was a pretty jam-full episode. You got a full four-course meal up here with this episode this week.
I agree. And for that one, do one more drop.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching the podcast. We'll see you back next week.
Drop. It's a good
great.
drop.
It's a great ghost. It's one of my favorite Ghostbusters lines of all time.
Oh, it's great.
Is this true? Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor,
it's
it's
true.
true. This man has
This man
no
has
dick.
no dick.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.